Chapter 798 Blood Battle Arena. Chapter 798 Blood Battle Arena. After entering the shop, the handsome young man, Su Ming, walked quickly towards its interior, where a bald elder bearing a thundercloud mark between his eyes quietly sat cross-legged. "Master," Su Ming greeted him respectfully. Elder Lei Exin, the two guards also addressed him courteously. Lei Exin nodded to them and turned his eyes on Su Ming. "Where have you been?" "I've just been wandering the streets nearby, Master," Su Ming answered with a forced smile. Lei Exin's face abruptly darkened. "Humph, I've warned you several times not to stay out of my sight for this period, but have you actually been listening?" he reprimanded Su Ming coldly. Su Ming frowned and argued, "Master, it's just Jian Wushuang. This is Sursus Island. Unless he is a fool, he would know the consequences of fighting on the island. Furthermore, I have two protectors with me. He doesn't have the ability to kill me even if he finds me. There's still a risk. Lei Yan told me that although Jian Wushuang may only be a divine realm expert, his strength is so extraordinary that even he, an expert at step 3 of the eternal realm, was frightened. If Jian Wushuang does try to assassinate you, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape," Lei Exin said in a deep tone. A divine realm expert had frightened an expert at step 3 of the eternal realm? "Do you really believe that, Master?" Su Ming sneered. Lei Exin squinted and looked, deep in thought. The gap between the divine realm and the eternal realm was huge. It was impressive for a divine realm expert to match an ordinary eternal realm expert. Such a divine realm expert could be regarded as the strongest divine realm expert. It was almost impossible for a divine realm expert to be stronger than an expert at step 3 of the eternal realm. In any case, Lei Exin had never seen or even heard of such a mighty expert before. "It's always wise to play safe," Lei Exin told Su Ming gravely. He glanced at the two guards beside Su Ming and ordered, "You two have to follow him closely." "Yes, Elder Lei Exin, rest assured. We will stay close to Master Su Ming," one of the two guards promised. "Good," Lei Exin nodded and turned to Su Ming. "Always take with you the thing I gave you. Never remove it or put it in your interspatial ring. If you are really in danger, it could save your life." "I got it, Master," Su Ming nodded deferentially. "You can leave now," Lei Exin said and waved them away. Su Ming and his two guards left immediately. The bald elder Lei Exin continued to sit there quietly as he watched Su Ming's retreating figure. He shook his head silently. Lei Exin was born without any family. He grew up alone in adversity, joined the Universal Thunder sect, and eventually became the sect master. He had always been alone, with no master or disciple. The opportunity he had left in the ancient world had been obtained by Su Ming. The latter, like him, was a man who would do anything to attain his goal. Therefore, he had accepted Su Ming as his disciple. It was not easy for him to get a disciple, so he valued Su Ming very much. After leaving Lei Exin, Su Ming and his two guards emerged from the shop and walked to the next street. Jian Wushuang had been watching them from the tavern in silence. He had no intention of taking action. The sect master Lei Exin really treasures his disciple. He actually arranged for 2 eternal realm experts to be Su Ming's guards. He deserves to be one of the guest elders of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion." Jian Wushuang's lips were pressed into a thin smile. He continued to drink in solitude. He had read Lei Exin's information carefully. When Lei Exin had left the firmament territory, he had only been at step 4 of the eternal realm. As he wandered, his strength had grown. Now, he was at step 5 of the eternal realm, and had even broken through to the top of this step. In a nutshell, he was extremely powerful. Most importantly, Lei Exin was a guest elder of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion was a force to be reckoned with in Sursus Island. On this island, the most exalted one was surely the Lord of Sursus Island and his Sursus army. In addition to the Lord of Sursus Island, there were 6 forces that were entrenched on Sursus Island. All the 6 forces were under the command of the Lord. Usually, they operated as separate entities. They had a long history and were very strong. They were said to have Tao masters as their backers. and the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion was one of the 6 forces. As a guest elder of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion, Lei Xen had an extraordinary position in the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. He now ran nearly a third of the shops belonging to them. Su Ming's master is not just an expert at the peak of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, but also a guest elder of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. And Su Ming is protected by 2 Eternal Realm guards. We're also on Sursus Island, so I'd have a lot of trouble killing him. Jian Wushuang's eyes were narrowed, but he didn't look anxious at all. Well, I'll leave him alone for now. I'll go to the Blood Battle Arena first and try to get a Sursus token. I have the privilege of killing people on this island only with a Sursus token. With this in mind, Jian Wushuang emptied his cup and then checked out before leaving the tavern. The Blood Battle Arena was at the very center of Sursus Island and was situated underground. When Jian Wushuang arrived at the Blood Battle Arena, the scene of madness before him took his breath away. Jian Wushuang had been to a similar place in the ancient world. He was a teenager at the time, and he had gone to the gladiator arena to participate in duels to get more spirit-cultivating pills. The gladiator arena also looked pretty crazy, but was nothing compared to the Blood Battle Arena. The vast underground world had a radius of thousands of kilometers. There were numerous seats, in which more than 1 million people sat, screaming wildly. But these people didn't even fill 1/10 of the seats in this underground world. There were 2 huge arenas in the middle of the underground world. A fierce battle was currently taking place in one. Wow, wow, wow. Oh yes, fight. The exclamations, screams and howls drowned out the fighting at the arena. That's really crazy. Jian Wushuang was shocked at the scene. He took a seat and watched the fight in the arena. The 2 fighters were clearly superior Divine Realm experts and both were formidable. Chapter 799, 10 Consecutive Victories. Chapter 799, 10 Consecutive Victories. Bang! An almighty bang was suddenly heard issuing from the center of the arena. A fighter's lower limbs had burst open and blood was spurting out. The other fighter, a fierce man, laughed as he clenched his right hand and directed his punch towards his opponent's head. A faint roar akin to that of a savage beast could be heard as the wounded man's head was pulverized. There was no doubt that he was dead. The death did not silence the Blood Battle Arena. Instead, it caused a greater uproar. The winner is Skull. Do you want to continue the challenge, Skull? Asked the host of the fight, who was an Eternal Realm expert. Of course, Skull replied after a bellow of laughter. His voice echoed through the arena. As soon as Skull had announced his decision, a superior Divine Realm expert arrived at the arena and tried to challenge him. Jian Wushuang continued to sit in the audience and watched their fight silently. He watched more than 10 fierce fights successively. Of the 13 men who were defeated in these fights, only 3 survived. The other 10 died on the arena. This was the brutality and madness of the Blood Battle Arena. There were 2 kinds of Blood Battle Arenas, one for Divine Realm experts and the other for Eternal Realm experts. The fight between experts in the Eternal Realm took place only once every month, with at most a dozen duels each time. It was violent but not crazy. However, the fight between the Divine Realm experts took place every day, and thus a large number of Divine Realm experts died every day. Even so, there was no stopping the madness. Sursus Island had many more experts in the Divine Realm than in the Eternal Realm. Their large number made them insignificant. These Divine Realm experts clearly know that the odds of death are very high, and that those who dare to fight in the Blood Battle Arena are all superior Divine Realm experts. Still, they continue to challenge themselves. It's really... Jian Wushuang sighed inwardly. Divine Realm experts who could obtain Sursus tokens would reap many benefits on Sursus Island. Other benefits aside, permanent residency on the island had great appeal, in addition to the privilege of killing people. Furthermore, the Sursus token could be sold for an astronomical price. As the benefits were so attractive, the Divine Realm experts were willing to take risks. For me, there's no need to waste time watching the life-or-death duels between Divine Realm experts, Jian Wushuang muttered as he shook his head subtly. Then he walked to the arena and signed up for the fight. The frenzied fight continued on the arena. Jian Wushuang had no idea how many superior divine realm experts had appeared on the arena, but he had not seen anyone win 5 fights in a row. That was until a girl in a green dress appeared on the arena. The girl showed remarkable strength with a spear. She defeated 6 superior divine realm experts with ease. She is quite good. She must be close to the peak of the divine realm, Jian Wushuang speculated silently. At this point, the next challenger is Swordsman, the host shouted wildly. Oh! Jian Wushuang's eyebrows were arched and he smiled as he appeared on the arena like a phantom. Immediately, the attention of the audience was directed at him. Ow, ow, ow! The frenzied howls from the audience continued. Jian Wushuang ignored the noise as he turned his eyes to the girl opposite him. Swordsman? Is that an alias? The girl looked at Jian Wushuang. Yes, replied Jian Wushuang. You seem confident. The girl smiled. Not bad. Be careful then. It's a life or death duel. I have no intention of killing you, but if I can't stop my attack, you can't blame me. With that, the girl began to attack Jian Wushuang. Swoosh! The long spear was thrusted straight at Jian Wushuang. As the spear moved, a series of strange-looking whirlpools appeared in the voids. The speed of the spear was extraordinary. Good, Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. At first glance, Jian Wushuang already knew that the girl had condensed her spear heart, which was already steady at level 1. Thus, her overall strength was comparable to that of the most powerful divine realm expert. Normally, it would not be difficult for her to win 10 consecutive battles to get a Cersus token. Unfortunately, she had run into Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang struck. It was a casual, ordinary blow. The girl was stunned by the movement as she could not see its tracks at all. With a crash, the girl's long spear flew out of her hand. Blood gushed out from the new cut on her wrist. Jian Wushuang withdrew his sword and stood still. Thank you. The girl looked at Jian Wushuang gratefully. She retrieved her long spear and hurried off the arena. She was well aware that Jian Wushuang had gone easy on her. He's horrifying. I'm one of the most powerful divine realm experts and can even fight an expert at step 1 of the eternal realm, but he defeated me with 1 blow. If he didn't show mercy, I'd be dead now. It's my first time seeing such a terrifying divine realm expert. She was still in shock even as she stepped off the arena. The audience had started to cheer when they saw Jian Wushuang defeat the girl with a single blow. Swordsman! Swordsman! The audience chanted his name. The host asked, Swordsman, do you want to continue the challenge? Yes, of course, replied Jian Wushuang, smiling. Subsequently, several people challenged him. These challengers were very strong. Each of them was a superior divine realm expert. Some were almost as skillful as the strongest divine realm experts. But to Jian Wushuang, they were weak. 1 blow. As he had done with his first opponent, Jian Wushuang defeated the next 9 challengers with 1 blow. Unsurprisingly, he obtained 10 consecutive victories. Jian Wushuang was merciful and did not kill his opponents. Only 1 challenger had been killed because he had continued to fight despite being wounded by Jian Wushuang. Chapter 800 An Assassination. Chapter 800 An Assassination. After successively winning 10 fights, Jian Wushuang walked off the arena. Mr. Swordsman, here's your Cersus token. You can use it yourself, lend it to someone or sell it. You may not obtain more than 1 token, said the host, an eternal realm expert. I see, thank you, said Jian Wushuang as he took the token. He stained the token with a drop of his blood to mark his ownership before getting ready to leave. Swordsman, a voice behind him stopped him in his tracks. Jian Wushuang turned and saw the girl who had been his first opponent on the arena. She approached him with a smile on her face. Congratulations, she said. Yes? Jian Wushuang asked indifferently. I'm Lin Wan. I'm here to thank you for showing me mercy during the fight, explained the girl. I have nothing against you. I just wanted to get a Cersus token. There was no need to kill you, Jian Wushuang said coolly. He quickly took his leave to avoid entanglements with the girl. This guy is interesting. Lin Wan wasn't offended by Jian Wushuang's indifference. Instead, her curiosity about him grew. I thought it would be easy for me to get a Cersus token in the blood battle arena. I wasn't expecting him to defeat me so easily. My father was right. The Eternal World has an abundant number of experts and there are many hidden talents on Cersus Island, Lin Wan thought in amazement. Just then, two white-robed figures rushed forward anxiously. Miss, thank God we found you. Let's go back at once. His Excellency would be furious to know that you were in the blood battle arena. I just got here. Don't worry. I'll go back after getting a Cersus token, Lin Wan scowled. A Cersus token. The two white-robed figures exchanged shocked glances. One of them continued to persuade her. Miss, please don't be willful. The fights here are very cruel. If you get injured, we'll both be blamed for it. You may ask His Excellency for a Cersus token. You don't have to fight here. All right. Cut the crap. I'll go back, Lin Wan muttered, and followed the two white-robed men away from the blood battle arena. After leaving the blood battle arena, Jian Wushuang rented a mansion on the island and settled down before looking for chances to kill Su Ming. Soon, 3 days had passed. Jian Wushuang sat by the window on the second floor of a restaurant. He was drinking and paying close attention to what was happening downstairs. He could clearly see Su Ming, who was protected by the two Eternal Realm experts. It has been 3 days. Su Ming has been staying in the block of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion, and his two guards have not left his side. It'll be impossible for me to take action even after he leaves the block. The block of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion was filled with experts of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion, including Lei Exing. If Jian Wushuang attacked Su Ming, those experts would retaliate immediately. It was risky for him to make his move while Su Ming resided in the block. However, given the present situation, he had to take a risk. With the help of his master, Su Ming's strength has improved rapidly and he has become a superior divine realm expert. Even so, if I do try to kill him, he won't have time to react. Jian Wushuang analyzed the situation. As for his two guards, they are only at step 1 of the Eternal Realm. My sudden attack will catch them off guard. I'll find an excellent opportunity, kill Su Ming with one blow, and leave immediately. Having made a decision, Jian Wushuang's expression lightened. In the last 3 days, he had assessed the strength of Su Ming and his two guards. With his strength, he had excellent chances of carrying out a successful assassination and he would have time to escape. Jian Wushuang left the restaurant and edged closer to where Su Ming was. Jian Wushuang had completely restrained his aura so that he did not attract any attention. Su Ming did not notice him even as he drew within 50 m of him. I only have one chance. If I fail to kill him this time, he will be more careful and even stay with his master. If that happens, I won't be able to kill him. So I have to kill him now. Jian Wushuang said to himself. His eyes gleamed in anticipation. Now! He suddenly moved. His speed instantly reached its peak as he unsheathed the Emperor's sword. He crossed the distance of less than 50 meters in a flash and swung his sword at unprecedented speed. This move was called Twilight. A beautiful sword shadow emerged silently before Su Ming's throat. Jian Wushuang's sword heart reached its fullest power and trembled slightly in his sea of consciousness. He was not adept at assassination, but he knew how to find the perfect time to kill. At the perfect moment, he delivered the most unexpected blow with astonishing speed. That blow left his target no chance of survival. There was absolutely no way Su Ming could have avoided it. In the street, Su Ming was guarded by two Eternal Realm experts. He was deep in thought over what his master had told him and did not even notice the fatal blow approach him. The two guards did not notice anything amiss until the sword shadow appeared in front of Su Ming's throat. Crap! The two guards could not do anything as the sword shadow was too close. Clank! A low metal crash sounded, and Jian Wushuang's face immediately darkened. Unexpectedly, an energy shield had suddenly appeared around Su Ming at the critical moment and blocked Jian Wushuang's blow. The energy shield broke as it deflected the strike. The ring on Su Ming's finger also disintegrated. That ring was the life-saving item that Lei Xian had given Su Ming. It contained a layer of energy shield, which would automatically activate when Su Ming encountered a life crisis, but it would only work once. What? Su Ming finally realized what was happening. He raised his head and stared hard at Jian Wushuang, who had a murderous look on his face. Jian Wushuang. Su Ming let out a sharp cry of fear. And as he quickly backed away, he brought out his token to make contact with his master. Master, hurry up, save me. Jian Wushuang is trying to kill me. Chapter 801. The Assassination Attempt. Chapter 801. The Assassination Attempt. Damn it. Who would have guessed that Su Ming has such a life-saving item? Jian Wushuang swore angrily. Seeing his fatal blow deflected by the energy shield emerging from Su Ming's ring, Jian Wushuang turned pale but did not give up. When Su Ming quickly backed away, he immediately chased after. But then Su Ming's two guards who were in the Eternal Realm tried to stop him. You bastard, go to hell. The two guards showed off their strength as experts at Step 1 of the Eternal Realm. One of them swung his saber straight at Jian Wushuang, the blade flashing like a gust of wind. The other one clenched his hands into two fists and hurtled at Jian Wushuang with the momentum of an avalanche. Out of the way! Jian Wushuang shouted. His eyes flickered with harsh light. His emperor sword was swung horizontally, and when its power exploded, the sword flashed upward. All of this was done by Jian Wushuang in an instant. What? The guard wielding the saber opened his eyes in horror as the sword shadow that Jian Wushuang made shot through the gap of his saber straight at his neck. Swish! The sword shadow passed inexorably around the guard's neck, his head flying away. Besides, parts of the sword shadow's power entered his body and shattered his life core. Then the sword shadow was lifted up and turned to chop off the other guard's arm. The guard had no time to dodge and his arm was completely cut apart. It took Jian Wushuang only a moment to get through the two guards. However, as the guard's sacrifice bought enough time for Su Ming to run away, and Jian Wushuang found that many people with a powerful aura rushed out of some of the surrounding shops, and not far away a patrol of the Circe's army also was heading to where he was. If I don't go now, I won't be able to get away, he assessed the situation swiftly in his mind. He then cast a sharp glance at Su Ming before he turned and darted back toward the void. Humph! A cold snort suddenly echoed through the air. Now that you're here, stay here, the voice continued. Then an old and strong figure enveloped in purple thunderbolts flew out of a shop and went straight after Jian Wushuang. He radiated infinite purple thunderbolts, making himself look like a master of thunder. Master! Su Ming called. He was overjoyed to see the man. The sect master Lei Xian. That's too bad. Jian Wushuang's face hardened. According to the information he purchased, Lei Xian possessed the battle strength of an expert at the peak Step 5 of the Eternal Realm. Jian Wushuang was not quite sure he could handle him now. I have to run away. He made a quick decision. He immediately launched the Dragon Blood secret skill to burn up his spiritual power. Although it was only the first move of the Dragon Blood secret skill, it increased his speed a tenfold, leaving the experts of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion unable to catch up with him. Lei Xian squinted and slapped the void where Jian Wushuang was across the air. With this stroke, a huge purple thunderbolt shot out at incredible speed and caught up with Jian Wushuang in a fraction of a second. Ha! Jian Wushuang paled at the sight of the purple thunderbolt. The blow hurtling towards him was to be reckoned with, although its power was diminished by its passage through such a distance in the void. Jian Wushuang grasped the Emperor sword in his hand, turned suddenly and arose his power to strike the thunderbolt with his sword. This was the most powerful secret skill Jian Wushuang had created. Bang! Jian Wushuang gave a groan of pain. A trickle of blood came streaming out of his mouth. Fortunately, the purple thunderbolt had been partially blocked, and with the shock of that purple thunderbolt, his speed was even faster. He darted out into the street ahead of him in the blink of an eye and quickly disappeared into the crowd. Buzz. In the void, many figures with a towering aura appeared. In a flash, dozens of experts poured out of this block of the heavenly cloud pavilion. These experts were above step 3 of the eternal realm, among which Lei Xian was the strongest. Surrounded by purple thunderbolts, Lei Xian looked down at the street where Jian Wushuang had disappeared. "He has run away," he said with a hard look on his face. "Master." Elder Lei Xian. Su Ming and the guard, whose arm had been cut off by Jian Wushuang, appeared beside Lei Xian. Su Ming still looked scared. He clearly knew that he would have died without the life-saving item that he had received from his master. Lei Xian turned to Su Ming and asked, "Is that Jian Wushuang?" "Yes," Su Ming replied, nodding heavily, with unwillingness surging in his heart. Then he added, "He should have come to the eternal world later than I did. Thus he has only been in this world for about 100 years. I did not expect that he had become so strong." "He is indeed really strong," the guard said. Then he recounted their fight with Jian Wushuang. He attacked Master Su Ming all of a sudden. It was so fast that neither I nor Qian Yuan could react. Luckily, Master Su Ming had the life-saving item. And then I joined forces with Qian Yuan to try to stop him, but as a result. Remembering everything, the guard could not help but think of the scene when he fought Jian Wushuang. Actually, their fight happened in a flash. It was a very frightening scene. And his swordsmanship is horrifying. In an instant, he killed Qian Yuan and cut off my arm, and that was with just one blow. Above all, he is just a divine realm expert. I have seen countless divine realm experts, but I have never seen such a terrifying expert as him. Lei Xian's eyes narrowed slightly at his words. Just now he had also attacked Jian Wushuang. He had been far away from Jian Wushuang at the time, and his attack only a casual slap, but without powerful strength, a normal expert could not have taken it. Jian Wushuang, however, confronted his attack and handled it perfectly. It turns out that what Lei Yen has told me is more than mere exaggerations. There's something about that young man. Lei Xian muttered. Then he looked at the coming 100 sergeant squad of the Circe's army. "Someone just tried to assassinate my disciple. Didn't you Circe's army see that?" Lei Xian asked in a cold voice. The sergeants had finally arrived, but they had not searched the street where Jian Wushuang had disappeared, which made Lei Xian dissatisfied. "Yes, we did," the captain of the squad replied, looking directly at Lei Xian. "I sensed he had a Circe's token, so it's not against the rules for him to kill a person. As long as he doesn't overdo it, we won't stop him," the captain explained. "He has a Circe's token?" Lei Xian frowned. Chapter 802, To Find Him. Chapter 802, To Find Him. Humph, few experts have the Circe's token on Circe's Island. Jian Wushuang is from the ancient world and came here from the firmament territory. He is a total stranger on this island. He couldn't borrow or buy one. It must be because of his 10 consecutive victories in the blood battle arena, Lei Xian analyzed. With his strength, it's easy for him to win 10 fights in a row in the blood battle arena. Then he turned his furious eyes on an expert from the heavenly cloud pavilion beside him and demanded, "Go and find out who has won 10 fights in a row in the blood battle arena recently. You've got to find him anyway." "Yes," the expert replied and immediately went to investigate what Lei Xian had asked for. As one of the 6 biggest forces on Circe's Island, the intelligence capability of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion was excellent, and it didn't take long for the results to be found. Swordsman who came to the blood battle arena 3 days ago. He defeated 10 superior divine realm experts in succession, one of whom possessed the battle strength close to the strongest divine realm expert. And he beat these experts with only 1 blow each. With such excellent swordsmanship, he must be Jian Wushuang. Then the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion found the mansion where Jian Wushuang had lived for the last 3 days. Lei Xian went to the mansion himself, but when he got there, Jian Wushuang had already gone. "He's so smart." Lei Xen stood dumbfounded where Jian Wushuang had been not too long ago, his eyes gleaming sharply. "Don't think I can't find you." Then he called, "Protector you." A black-robed man who followed him immediately came forward and replied, "Yes, Elder Lei Xen. Do you know the purpose of me calling you for this occasion?" Lei Xen asked while throwing the black-robed man a glance. "Yes, rest assured, Elder." The tenant had left the mansion, but there are many remnants of his auras here. These are enough for me to trace him with my secret skill. As long as he hasn't left Circus Island, I'm sure I can find him, the black-robed man responded with confidence. In the eternal world, there was a myriad of experts, as well as tons of kinds of secret skills. Protector Yu was proficient in a very special secret skill for tracking. As long as a person left enough auras, he could use that secret skill to find out where the person was in a certain range. After a while, Protector Yu came to a conclusion. "Elder Lei Xen, I've found out where he probably is. He's still on Circus Island. Come with me," he said to Lei Xen. Then he led Lei Xen to a specific direction on the island. In an ordinary restaurant on the edge of the island, Jian Wushuang sat at a table, wearing a silver wicked mask. He had also changed into a white robe, and even his long sword on his back was now a huge axe instead. His temperament had become extraordinarily aggressive and domineering. At first glance, he looked like a completely different person, and he was sure that Su Ming would not recognize him when they met again. Heavenly Cloud Pavilion is like an overlord on Circus Island. With their power, they could find my mansion as easily as drinking water. In all likelihood, Lei Xen has taken his men to my rented mansion by now. Jian Wushuang speculated, and his face covered by the silver wicked mask was quite somber at the moment. "I miscalculated." Jian Wushuang gripped the cup. He had truly miscalculated. He had no idea that Su Ming was not only publicly guarded, but that he had a life-saving item on him, which worked automatically when he encountered a life-or-death crisis. That kind of life-saving item was priceless. It was the equivalent of giving its carrier an extra life. Lei Xen could only get one of such precious items, and this one really saved his disciple's life. After the assassination attempt, Su Ming will surely be more cautious. That will make it harder for me to kill him, Jian Wushuang thought, squinting. At this point, buzz. A band of mighty pressure suddenly came and covered the restaurant that Jian Wushuang was in. "What's going on?" Jian Wushuang wondered, looking up with a frown. He saw two men coming slowly out of the void, and the front man, completely covered by purple thunderbolts, was clearly Lei Xen. Jian Wushuang immediately realized that the mighty pressure that covered the whole restaurant emanated from Lei Xen. Behind him was a man in a black robe. The man looked at Jian Wushuang with blazing eyes and laughed. "Elder Lei Xen, that man is the one you're looking for." Lei Xen also turned his eyes on Jian Wushuang. Damn it! Jian Wushuang's face clouded at once. He was not expecting that Lei Xen could find him even though he had deliberately disguised himself and changed his temperament. Heavenly Cloud Pavilion really has terrific means. Jian Wushuang sighed helplessly. "Young man, do you think I can't find you just because you wear a mask?" Lei Xen's angry voice echoed through the air like thunder, and it carried a sound wave attack that came directly at Jian Wushuang. Knowing he was already exposed, Jian Wushuang no longer bothered hiding. With a move, he was already in the void, right in front of Lei Xen. His mask had been removed, and with the Emperor sword in his hand, his temperament had returned to its former overwhelming sharpness. "You're worthy of being the guest elder of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. You have such a brilliant skill to keep finding me." Jian Wushuang sneered, without the slightest fear. "Humph, my skill is beyond the imagination of a brat like you," Lei Xen said in a stentorian voice. "Cut the crap. Now that you dared to assassinate my disciple, you must die today." As these words were spoken, a purple stone staff materialized in Lei Xen's hand, which was circled around by a mess of purple thunderbolts. As Lei Xen swung it out, it struck at Jian Wushuang like a bolt. Rumbling. It looked as if the whole world was about to be split open by the attack. That strike carried so much power that it would frighten an expert at Step 4 of the Eternal Realm, not to mention a Divine Realm experts. Chapter 803, Laexian. Chapter 803, Laexian. You have used your full force on the first move, haven't you? Hee, Sect Master Laexian, you really look up to me. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly, but he looked very grave. He found that Laexian was at the peak of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, and he was even more powerful than other experts in the Eternal Realm that Jian Wushuang had met. With a buzz of his bloodline power, Jian Wushuang's body grew at tremendous speed, and in a second, he transformed into a 15-meter gold-armored ancient god. What's that? That person is so tall. Who is him? What a formidable aura. At the sight of Jian Wushuang's huge body, a large number of warriors around started looking concerned. The ancient gods were not rare in the firmament territory, and thus the experts there would not be surprised to see someone turn into one. However, far from the firmament territory, Circus Island had no eternal zone. No one present had ever seen or even heard of the ancient gods, so they were certainly shocked to see a gold-armored ancient god for the first time. Standing in the void, that golden giant emitted an overbearing aura. His cold eyes cast dark golden lights and shot violently at Laexian. The next moment his emperor sword, which had also grown and was 10 meters in length, was swung out with an echo. The first move of the Boundless Heaven Sword art, the Annihilation Sword move. Jian Wushuang also went all out on his first move, and the power of his sword heart reached its perfection. Two terrible attacks hit each other in a split second. Boom! A slight space rift appeared in the void where the collision occurred. In the Eternal World, one could never cause a space rift in the void without the battle strength of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm. After that blow, Jian Wushuang's giant body instantly turned into a flash of light and shot quickly back, smashing down several buildings before stopping. As an expert at Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, Laexian really is powerful. I tried my best to launch the Annihilation Sword move, but I was still outclassed by him, Jian Wushuang said to himself, his eyes held dark golden lights reflecting his shock. Fortunately, not long ago I have cultivated the Star River secret skill to level 12, making my overall strength improve quite a lot. Otherwise, his blow would have hurt me badly. It took Jian Wushuang 37 years to get to Circus Island from the Firmament territory. 37 years may be a very short amount of time for a man who had lived a long time, but it was very long for Jian Wushuang who had been born less than 200 years ago. His battle strength had been at the top of Step 4 of the Eternal Realm before he had left the Firmament territory. During those 37 years, he kept fighting to temper himself in the gray zone, and thus he had made great progress. His swordsmanship was obviously much more remarkable, and his sword heart had reached the peak of level 2, very close to level 3. Actually, Jian Wushuang thought that he could break through to level 3 at any moment. Additionally, some of his secret skills had also improved significantly. For example, he had just crossed the threshold of the secret skill of the mind controlling and the Scarlet Eye before, while now he had a much higher mastery of them. His Star River secret skill had only reached level 11 with a power amplitude of 33 times, but now, it was at level 12 with the power amplitude of 36 times, 3 more times than before. Naturally, he was now capable of greater power. Combined with the innate superiority of the gold-armored ancient god and the Boundless Heaven Sword art, Jian Wushuang estimated that his battle strength had barely reached the threshold of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm. His battle strength was already mighty. Unfortunately, his opponent now was Laexian, a real expert at the peak of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm. The gap between them was certainly large. In terms of strength, I'm no match for Laexian, but I am very capable of fighting in close quarters and skilled in swordsmanship. With these two advantages, I can definitely contend against him, and even killed him in a frontal attack. Jian Wushuang contemplated his chances, his eyes full of battle intent. The next moment, the 15-meter gold-armored ancient god rushed out, straight toward Laexian. "You're dooming yourself," Laexian shouted, holding his purple stone staff to meet Jian Wushuang head-on immediately. As he waved the purple stone staff at random, a huge thunder dragon popped up. In a twinkling, they got close to each other and started fighting. It was clear that Jian Wushuang was the underdog, and at times he was even completely subdued by Lei Exin. Still, Jian Wushuang had no intention of running away. In the 37 years I wandered around different places, I've met some powerful experts, but very few of them had ever needed me to fight with all my might. After being bored for so long, I finally meet a formidable opponent. It will be a pity if I don't go all out to fight him, Jian Wushuang yelled in his heart. As an ancient god, he was inherently bellicose. It was rare to meet such a particularly powerful opponent. He surely would not miss such a chance of fight. Moreover, he was not worried at all about being killed by Lei Exin. The body of the gold-armored ancient god was tougher than one could imagine, and thus he would not be killed that easily. What was more, he had so many trump cards at his disposal that he actually did not need to fear Lei Exin. Boom, 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 boom. Loud sounds reverberated throughout the world. On the battlefield, the vast spiritual power was scattered everywhere. Many of the surrounding buildings collapsed and the ground was potholed. It was a terrible sight. But the fight still showed no sign of stopping. Instead, it intensified, reaching a fever pitch. Suddenly, stop! A deep shout sounded like a thunderbolt between heaven and earth all of a sudden. Then, a group of sergeants in purple armor rushed towards the battlefield at astonishing speed. Several of these sergeants held such an overwhelming aura that Lei Exin had to take them seriously. The Circus army? Jian Wushuang and Lei Exin both looked a little embarrassed. Then they stopped and retreated a few steps. When they were on their feet, Lei Exin was in good condition with his aura strong, while Jian Wushuang cut a sorry figure, but his battle intent was exceedingly strong. What are you doing? That group of sergeants of the Circus army arrived in the middle of the battlefield. Their leader was a handsome, indifferent young man who carried a saber behind him. As soon as he arrived on the battlefield, he looked around, and as his eyes swept over Jian Wushuang, a strange light flashed through his eyes, but he hid it in an instant. At the sight of this man, Jian Wushuang also tried to pretend, but still a small gleam of surprise flashed in his eyes for a second. Actually, he was full of overjoy. It's him! Chapter 804, Commander Young. Chapter 804, Commander Young. Both Jian Wushuang and the indifferent man with the saber had recognized each other but kept their faces impassive. Elder Lei Exin, you're getting so bent out of shape, the man said while casting Lei Exin a quick glance. Oh, it's you, Commander Yang of the Circus army. Lei Exin looked at him and heavily said, Jian Wushuang tried to assassinate my disciple, and I'm going to kill him, shouldn't I? Besides, I've won 10 consecutive victories in the blood battle arena and got a Circus token. I'm not breaking the rules, am I? You both have Circus tokens and have the privilege of fighting on Circus Island. It would have been all right if you two had just fought with each other, but your fight caused a huge stir and even destroyed most of the surrounding streets. I couldn't just turn a blind eye to this, Commander Yang said. Lei Exin frowned at his words and looked all around. As the commander said, they had caused quite a scene, not only attracting a large number of experts but also destroying more than half of the surrounding streets, with the ground full of potholes. Long story short, the vicinity of the battlefield was horrible. Then Commander Yang continued, if you really want to fight it out or have a life-death duel, you can go straight to the blood battle arena. That's the place for you. Blood battle arena? Humph, do you think he would dare to go to the blood battle arena with me? Lei Exin questioned him while looking at Jian Wushuang coldly. That's your business, but if you're going to continue with this unbridled fight, I have to do something about it, Commander Yang warned. Lei Exin's face instantly fell. They were on Circus Island, where the Circus army had great power. Although he was the guest elder of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion, even the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion could not help him if he really offended the Circus army openly. And he found that Jian Wushuang was not weak at all. He is only a divine realm expert, but in a real fight, I cannot beat him with ease. He is also confident in himself. He dared to meet me head-on and didn't even try to run away. If he had tried to escape, I probably wouldn't have killed him even if the Circe's army hadn't stopped us. Lei Xian speculated inwardly. Then he clenched his hand tightly and said, Commander Yang, for the sake of you and the Circe's army, I'll stop today. Then he turned to Jian Wushuang, but it won't end like this. You are lucky today, but you won't be so lucky next time, he whispered the threat, glaring directly at Jian Wushuang. As these words were spoken, Lei Xian threw his sleeve and turned straight away. Seeing Lei Xian leave, Commander Yang turned his eyes on Jian Wushuang and said, Come with me. You have to account for destroying so many things. Jian Wushuang shrugged his shoulders, but followed him with great cooperation. As they all left, the surrounding streets became quiet again. In the dark secret chamber of a rather vast mansion on Circe's Island, Jian Wushuang sat quietly at a table, while Commander Yang, who had brought him there, stood while looking at him. Suddenly, Commander Yang turned over his hand, took out a pot of wine and handed it to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang uncorked it and sniffed it. It smells good. What kind of wine is it? He asked. It's demon nectar, the best quality. Just this pot in the market is worth 2 million divine gems, and it has a price but no sales. I got 2 pots by chance. Usually, I don't drink it, Commander Yang said. You are a commander of the Circe's army and also have a good wine worth 2 million divine gems. We parted for many years. Now you're really impressive, second brother. Jian Wushuang laughed. Commander Yang was one of his sworn brothers from the ancient world, his second brother Yang Zishuan. He was the personal disciple of Emperor Shao. When Jian Wushuang left the ancient world, Yang Zishuan was still with Emperor Shao. Now more than 100 years had passed, and he had not expected to see his sworn brother on Circe's Islands. Moreover, now both his status and strength were extraordinary. A commander of the Circe's army. As far as I know, in the Circe's army, the captains of the 10-sergeant squad are experts in the Eternal Realm. And the captains of the 100-sergeant squad are experts at step 3 or 4 of the Eternal Realm. As for commanders, they are in charge of 500 sergeants, at least at step 5 of the Eternal Realm. Jian Wushuang stated his analysis. Tut, second brother, it's only been more than 100 years, and you've made amazing progress, he said full of admiration. Jian Wushuang could see that Yang Zishuan had broken through to the Eternal Realm, and that, as a commander of the Circe's army, he must be very powerful, at least as powerful as him. I can't compare with you. Yang Zishuan shook his head and said, You went to the Eternal World alone to attend the Firmament Territory Feast, and grew to the present step by yourself. But unlike you, I have made such great progress largely because of my master. Then he gave a rough account of his experience. After you left the ancient world, my master took me to a very strange place, where I got a very precious and important inheritance. Thanks to this inheritance and the many opportunities my master prepared for me, I got to this point and became the commander of the Circe's army only a short time ago. Yang Zishuan's voice was flat as he spoke these words. Generally speaking, people would hide great opportunities like getting an inheritance in the bottom of their hearts, and would not tell others so easily like Yang Zishuan just had done. The reason why Yang Zishuan told Jian Wushuang this without scruple was that he regarded Jian Wushuang as his good brother. Good brothers could share almost everything. You're still pretty impressive, Jian Wushuang said, smiling and rejoiced at Yang Zishuan's great opportunity. By the way, why are you alone? Where's our big brother Wang Yuan? Didn't he come to the Eternal World with you? He asked. Their fourth sister Su Rou left the ancient world a long time ago and should be in the Eternal World, too. After her, Jian Wushuang set out alone to the Firmament Territory for the Firmament Territory Feast. The reason that Yang Zishuan and Wang Yuan came to the Eternal World was special. Their trip here had been arranged by Emperor Shao. Our big brother Wang Yuan came to the Eternal World with me, but he's now not on Circe's Island but in the Tang of the East. Are you passing by Circe's Island on your way to the Tang of the East? Yang Zishuan asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. He was only temporarily staying on this island, and his real destination was indeed the Tang of the East. Chapter 805 Level 3. Chapter 805, Level 3. That's it. Yang Zishuan nodded. Then he added, "You'll see our big brother Wang Yuan when you get to the Tang of the East. He's the chief alchemist there now. He's a lot better than the two of us." The chief alchemist of the Tang of the East? Jian Wushuang's eyes flew open in surprise. He had known Wang Yuan had great talent in alchemy, but he was not expecting him to be so incredible. He actually has become the chief alchemist of the Tang of the East in such a short time. Jian Wushuang sighed in his heart with astonishment. "Oh, third brother, why did you get into a fight with Lei Xian of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion? He seemed to be dying to kill you," Yang Zishuan asked curiously. Lei Xian's disciple is an enemy whom I had tried every means to kill in the ancient world. Today I have tried in vain to assassinate him. And Lei Xian found me in some way I didn't know, so there you go, Jian Wushuang replied. "The enemy of the ancient world? You haven't killed him yet?" Yang Zishuan frowned. "He's too lucky." Jian Wushuang smiled bitterly. If Su Ming hadn't brought a life-saving item with him today, Jian Wushuang would have already killed him. Lei Xian is not only powerful but also a guest elder of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion with great power. Besides, he's extremely difficult to get rid of. It's not a good thing to be targeted by him. Third brother, be careful. Yang Zishuan reminded him. "Got it?" Jian Wushuang replied. He did not despise Lei Xian at all. "By the way, is this mansion yours?" Jian Wushuang asked. "Yes, as a commander of the Circus army, I have an independent mansion just for me," Yang Zishuan answered. "Then it should be safe here. Lei Xian wouldn't dare break in, would he?" Jian Wushuang continued. "Of course, no matter how bold he is, he would never try to break into the mansion of a commander of the Circus army," Yang Zishuan said with confidence. "Good," Jian Wushuang nodded again and smiled. "Second brother, please get me a secret chamber. I want to have closed-door cultivation for a few days." "Have closed-door cultivation?" Yang Zishuan was a little dumbfounded. "I have a bottleneck, and I am on the edge of a breakthrough. I learned something from the fierce battle with Lei Xian just now. I only need to cultivate quietly for a few days, then I can break through this bottleneck and make a huge improvement in strength. By then I could contend with Lei Xian," Jian Wushuang said seriously. "Oh, I see," Yang Zishuan understood and nodded. "I'll get everything ready for you at once then." After he prepared everything Jian Wushuang asked for, Jian Wushuang immediately went in and began to cultivate. He had indeed learned a great deal from his battle with Lei Xian, even if it had not lasted too long. Long ago, his sword heart had reached the top of level 2, only one step away from level 3. He already felt that he could break through to level 3, and through the battle with Lei Xian, he had found the opportunity. Jian Wushuang sat quietly cross-legged in a secret chamber with his eyes closed and surrounded by layers of shocking sword essence. The sword essence was extremely profound and complex. Some were wanton, some fierce and domineering, and some others introverted and plain. In the end, these layers of sword essence fully integrated. The unification sword. No matter how different the sword essence was, the essence was still the same. After all, a sword was a sword. The sword essence was the sword essence. "My sword heart is going to reach level 3. Jian Wushuang abruptly opened his eyes and a sharp sword light shot out of them. In his sea of consciousness, the extremely formidable sword heart began to change. In a moment, the metamorphosis was over. Now his sword heart had broken through to level 3. And his overall strength had also made a qualitative leap. His sword heart was now 10 times stronger. At the same time, his swordsmanship attainments would reach a new height. All in all, his power had shot up. When I fought with Lei Xian, my sword heart was only at the top of level 2. I was completely suppressed by him, and could only rely on my swordsmanship along with the tough body of the ancient god to barely contend with him. Now with my sword heart breakthrough, my strength has soared. I don't have to be afraid of him ever again if I fight him head-on. Jian Wushuang contemplated this happily, clenching his hands. He spent 3 days in the closed-door cultivation. When he walked out after the breakthrough, Yang Zixuan immediately came to him. "How is it, third brother?" Yang Zixuan demanded with concern. "It went smoothly. No obstacles." Jian Wushuang answered with a broad smile on his face. "So are you confident you can beat Lei Xian?" Yang Zixuan looked at him closely. "Yes, I'll go this evening," Jian Wushuang said confidently, with his eyes flashing sharp light. "This evening?" Yang Zixuan's mouth lifted. He then went on, "Do you need any help?" "No, thank you, second brother. It's easy for me to beat Lei Xian now. I won't stand on ceremony if I need your help." Jian Wushuang smiled. Yang Zixuan shrugged his shoulders and said nothing more. He was cold by nature, only slightly warmer to Jian Wushuang, Wang Yuan and Su Rou. He didn't care about other people at all. Jian Wushuang soon set off to go to Lei Xian alone. The bright moon climbed high in the sky. Ablaze with lights, Circus Island was still bustling. There were still a lot of people on the block of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. Jian Wushuang, dressed in a black robe, could see the situation of that block clearly. As I guessed, Su Ming has become more cautious after the last assassination attempt. Previously, he did not leave the block of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion but would walk around the block. However, now he spends all day with his master in that shop. As soon as I get close to that shop, his master will probably notice. Jian Wushuang hid in the void with the information he had collected. He is so careful. It is a lot harder for me to kill him now. I have to lure him away. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly and quickly came up with a plan. Whoosh! With a move of his thought, a man suddenly appeared beside him. It was his slaughter body. In order to kill Su Ming, he would have to act in tandem with his slaughter body. Then he began to take action. His world body held the Emperor's sword and flew away quietly, while his slaughter body remained where he was, carefully hidden. Chapter 806 Suppression. Chapter 806 Suppression. Inside the shop, Lei Yun sat quietly, next to a mysterious elder in a black robe. This mysterious elder had a peculiar aura, as if he was not there at all. As for Su Ming, he sat at the bottom with some constraint. Jian Wushuang and my disciple are sworn enemies. Although he failed to assassinate my disciple last time, he will never give up. With his temper, he will find a way to carry out assassination again. My disciple will just stay here for the time being. If Jian Wushuang comes, please help us, Mr. Wu, Lei Yun said, looking at that mysterious elder. Rest assured, Elder Lei. I'll keep my promise. What's more, we are both in Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. We should help each other, that elder smiled. All of a sudden, he looked up with a brow arched and said, He has come. So soon? Lei Xian's face lit up with pleasure while Su Ming felt nervous inside. Lei Xian asked the mysterious elder, Mr. Wu, for help not only because he was formidable, but also because his psychic ability was extraordinary. Neither Lei Xian nor Su Ming noticed Jian Wushuang's approach, but Mr. Wu did. Oh, this boy is very careful. Instead of rushing closer, he lingered nearby. Mr. Wu laughed. Lei Xian looked closely at him. After a moment, Mr. Wu's eyebrows furrowed slightly. He has lingered for so long? It seems that he has no intention of taking action. He just wants to make sure whether your disciple is in this shop, he said. He has no intention of taking action? Lei Xian repeated Mr. Wu's words with a nod. Knowing I'm here, it would have been odd if Jian Wushuang had acted without scruple, he thought. Mr. Wu's brows suddenly rose in surprise. What's going on? Lei Xian asked anxiously at once. He seems to have given up. He is ready to leave. Mr. Wu laughed. Leave? Lei Xian's face became hard. Humph, now that he has come on his own initiative, how could I let him leave? He said coldly. Mr. Wu, please join me to kill him. Lei Xian let out a low shout. Then, a mighty air rose violently from him, and he instantly turned into a purple thunderbolt, flying out of the shop. At the same moment that Lei Xin moved, the black-robed Mr. Wu smiled faintly before darting out. Both men took action simultaneously, and Su Ming was left alone in the shop. Boom! Boom! Two gales of terrifying auras suddenly burst out like a bright beacon in the night. Wandering around the shop, Jian Wushuang noticed them immediately. Damn it, I'm exposed. Jian Wushuang looked a little worried and then darted straight into a dark void in the distance without hesitation. Young man, you want to run away? I won't give you any more chances to escape, Lei Xian roared. Having nailed his eyes on Jian Wushuang, he pursued Jian Wushuang together with Mr. Whoosh. Three figures, one running ahead and two chasing after. They were moving so fast that they disappeared into the night sky soon after. Witnessing Lei Xian and Mr. Wu disappear from sight, Jian Wushuang's slaughter body, who had been hiding in another void, revealed a cold smile on his face. The next moment, a 7-foot scarlet sword, like a sea of blood, appeared in his hand. It was the Blood Mountain sword that Jian Wushuang's master had given him. Buzz! Jian Wushuang's bloodline power burst forth. Seconds later, his slaughter body turned into a 15-meter gold-armored ancient god. The gold-armored ancient god held the Blood Mountain sword, which was 12 meters now, in one hand. His ice-cold eyes exuded endless rage and stared at the shop where Su Ming was. Su Ming, no one can save you this time. Jian Wushuang howled in a deep voice. Then he made a great leap, and his giant body appeared before the shop. He brandished his long sword and cut mercilessly across the shop. A huge sword shadow emerged, like another bright moon in the night, and was incomparably dazzling. Swish! The sword light erupted into raging power and shattered the whole shop directly. Su Ming and some experts of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion in the shop turned pale at the sudden attack. They sprang out into the nearby void. But upon reaching the void, they saw a giant gold-armored ancient god with a terrifying aura in front of them. The size and aura of this gold-armored ancient god were so overwhelming that at the first sight of it, those experts felt terrified. It's Jian Wushuang. Su Ming stared fixedly at the gold-armored ancient god, who was also glaring fiercely at him. No, this couldn't be. You are clearly being pursued by my master and Mr. How could you possibly be here? How could this be? Su Ming was completely lost. Jian Wushuang was too lazy to explain and gave him a snort of contempt. Then he raised his Blood Mountain sword and struck at Su Ming. The horrifying sword essence covered Su Ming in an instant. As a superior divine realm expert, he was powerless to resist Jian Wushuang's attack. No, don't kill me. Su Ming was horrified and frantically growled and shouted. The fear of death was all that remained in his mind at this point. He didn't want to die. Humph, kill you? Rest assured I won't kill you. Not only will I not kill you, I will do everything I can to make you live longer. I'll make you live for 10,000 years, 100,000 years, or even 1,000,000 years. Now that you're in my hands, I will let you know how lucky it will be to be dead. Jian Wushuang had a ferocious look on his face. The Blood Mountain sword he had swung at Su Ming abruptly changed. It was a huge scarlet sword of killing, like a boundless sea of blood, but the next moment, it transformed into a giant towering mountain. That mountain came down from the sky and came straight at Su Ming. Sword Mountain, suppression. With a flash of light in Jian Wushuang's eyes, he launched the secret skill of suppression attached to Blood Mountain sword. A black hole suddenly appeared in the bottom of the giant mountain, and mysterious cracks from the black hole swept out, blocking the sky and the sun, instantly forming a great spell formation. Su Ming was completely trapped in the spell formation and was horrified to find that he could not move at all. He watched helplessly as the spell formation shrank, and so did himself. In the end, both the spell formation and he were completely engulfed by the black hole. Chapter 807, An Eternal Realm Puppet Fighter. Chapter 807, An Eternal Realm Puppet Fighter. In fact, from smashing the shop to suppressing Su Ming, Jian Wushuang had done all these in a split second. He acted so quickly that the surrounding experts of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion had no time to react, but Su Ming had already been suppressed. After all these, Jian Wushuang waved his hand slightly. The giant towering mountain began to shrink and return to his hand, instantaneously turning into a scarlet sword. Now that my purpose has been achieved, I'm leaving. Jian Wushuang grinned, then he immediately turned and flew away. These experts certainly would not allow him to leave. However, Jian Wushuang, who had turned into an ancient god, was as formidable as Lei Exin. The strong experts in the streets of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion were only at step 3 or 4 of the Eternal Realm. Even if they joined hands, they could not stop him. In the end, Jian Wushuang's slaughter body calmly left. At this time, Lei Exin and Mr. Wu were still in pursuit of his world body. His world body fled all the way, and finally left Circus Island to the endless waters outside the island. Humph, he's courting death. Lei Exin's complexion was cold. If he stays on Circus Island, I'll still have some scruples because of the Circus army. Now that he has left the island, where there is neither shelter nor restraint, I will kill him in whichever way I want. Don't drop your guard. Mr. Wu turned to Lei Exin and reminded him, from his previous actions, he is wise enough to know that to leave Circus Island is to lose his refuge. Now that he has left the island, maybe he has a plan or even set a trap to get us here on purpose. A trap? Lei Exin said in disdain, he has just come here from the firmament territory and does not know anyone here. What kind of trap could he have? Unless... His face abruptly changed. He thought of a possibility. This had been a trick to lure the tiger from the mountain. Damn it! Lei Exin cursed. He quickly took out his message token and wanted to inquire about the situation in the shop. At this moment, Jian Wushuang, who had been scurrying ahead, suddenly stopped and turned to look at Lei Exin. You two chased me out for so long and even out of Circus Island. Aren't you tired? Jian Wushuang smiled, looking emboldened. This scene made Lei Exin and Mr. Wu look worse. By this time, Lei Exin had received news about the situation in the shop and discovered that Su Ming had been suppressed and taken away. Is it a doppelganger? You've actually cultivated the doppelganger's secret skill? Lei Exin cried, shooting Jian Wushuang a frosty look. He knew it was Jian Wushuang who had taken his disciple away from the shop, and now there was another Jian Wushuang in front of them. To have two bodies concurrently, obviously, Jian Wushuang had cultivated the doppelganger's secret skill. Haha, it's too late for you to know now. Jian Wushuang's mouth curved into a smile. Your disciple has fallen into my hands. He can't live. Humph, if my disciple is dead, then you'll have to go down with him. Lei Exin snarled. Go down with him? Really? Jian Wushuang sneered and pointed his emperor's sword at him from afar. Lei Exin, I know you want to kill me, so I'll give you a chance. The Circus army interrupted our fight earlier. Now, let's fight again. That's ridiculous. I have Mr. Wu to help me. Do I really need to fight one-on-one with you? Lei Exin sniffed. Mr. Wu. Jian Wushuang looked over at the old man shrouded in the black robe beside Lei Exin. Then he said, well, you're only from the Eternal Realm. Which step have you reached? If an Eternal Realm expert did not exert his power, no one else could tell by the mere appearance of his aura which step he had reached, not even Jian Wushuang. I'm a worthless old man. I'm only at the peak of step 5, just like Elder Lei Exin, Mr. Wu said bluntly. Two experts at the peak of step 5? Jian Wushuang's brows arched. He had thought that Lei Exin was his only opponent, so Mr. Wu's appearance was totally unexpected, but he could still deal with him. Mr. Wu, I want to fight Lei Exin alone today, so you stay out of our fight, Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile. Then he waved his hand, and a strong figure of 3 meters high appeared in the void. The burly figure looked indifferent without any emotion, and its eyes were abnormally cold. It's a puppet fighter? The complexions of Lei Exin and Mr. Wu changed. They could see from a glance that it was a puppet fighter of a high rank. Actually, that puppet fighter was a present given to Jian Wushuang by his second senior brother Purple Mountain during their first meeting. Initially, Purple Mountain said that if the puppet fighter exerted all his strength at the cost of millions of divine gems, he was equivalent to that of an expert at the peak of Step 6 of the Eternal Realm. The puppet fighter was one of Jian Wushuang's trump cards. It was the first time he had taken it out in front of others. Second senior brother said that although this puppet fighter is powerful, it consumes incredibly large amounts of divine gems. I have some divine gems, but I cannot afford to waste them, Jian Wushuang reflected for a while before he pointed to Mr. Wu and ordered the puppet fighter, "Hold him. Don't let him interfere with my fight." "Yes." The 3-meter-high puppet fighter nodded dully and then darted out. He passed the void like a flash of thunder and appeared in front of Mr. Wu. Then his right hand clenched into a fist, gathering a terrifying force, and bombarded Mr. Wu. An interspatial ring was worn on a finger of the puppet fighter's right hand, of which there were tens of millions of divine gems. It was all the divine gems Jian Wushuang had collected. As he attacked Mr. Wu with his fist, hundreds of thousands of divine gems in the interspatial ring immediately turned into dust. This was when Jian Wushuang deliberately asked him not to play to his full strength. If he did his best, a single blow would cost millions of divine gems, and of course, it would generate more power. Boom! With this blow, several space rifts immediately spread out in the void. The alarming power had turned Mr. Wu pale, and the next moment he took out a black sickle. He wielded the sickle and swung out, carrying powerful knife essence, which collided with the puppet fighter's blow. Bang! There was a loud noise. Mr. Wu was smashed and flew out. Nonetheless, the puppet fighter's power did not decrease at all, and he aggressively pursued Mr. Wu. He soon overtook Mr. Wu, and it was clear that he had the upper hand. Mr. Wu was completely subdued and had no chance to fight back. Jian Wushuang smiled coldly at their fight. Afterwards he turned his eyes on Lei Exan again. "Now it's just the two of us left." Chapter 808 Fighting Against Lei Exan Again. Chapter 808 Fighting Against Lei Exan Again. "You're just a divine realm expert. How do you have such a mighty puppet fighter?" Lei Exan cast a glance at the puppet fighter, which was at war with Mr. Wu, a gleam of eagerness flashing over his eyes. Puppet fighters were expensive. The value of such a powerful puppet fighter was boundless. Even he was not qualified to own one like this. "Lei Exan, if you want this puppet fighter, then kill me. As long as you kill me, he's yours," Jian Wushuang provoked Lei Exan. "That makes sense," Lei Exan slightly nodded. "Now that you're courting death, I'll help you." His purple stone staff emerged in his hand, wrapped by thunderbolts. With the sound of thunder piercing the void in front of Jian Wushuang was broken open, and Lei Exan suddenly appeared. When he showed up, Lei Exan clenched his long staff in both hands and swung out angrily at Jian Wushuang. "Thunder hell!" After a deep howl, there was the sound of thunderbolt rushing through the void. Jian Wushuang then saw before him a vast web of thunderbolts. As the vast web was raging, a great power erupted from it and covered Jian Wushuang. As Lei Exan moved, Jian Wushuang had activated his bloodline power and turned into a 15-meter gold-armored ancient god, holding the enlarged emperor sword of 10 meters long. At the sight of the vast web of thunderbolts, Jian Wushuang's eyes were filled with fierce dark golden lights. "Break!" Along with a deep shout, Emperor Sword was wielded directly, bursting forth level 3 power of the Sword Heart. This strike was combined with level 12 power magnitude of the Star River secret skill and the great advantage of a gold-armored ancient god's innate strength. Jian Wushuang had put all his power into the strike. Splash! The sword light cut inexorably at the vast web of purple thunderbolts, making a large gash in its center, which caused endless thunderbolts to collapse and dissipate. Humph! Jian Wushuang sneered and brandished the Emperor's sword again. It was the first move of the Boundless Heaven Sword art, the Annihilation Sword move. It was a fierce, overwhelming blow, as though it had the power to destroy heaven and earth. Lei Xen turned around and waved his purple stone staff at the same time. Immediately, countless staff shadows appeared in the void. These shadows overlapped to form a powerful blow. After a humming sound through the void, the stone staff collided with Jian Wushuang's Emperor's sword. Clang! There was a loud noise. The huge aftermath of the collision swept away immediately. Boom! The water level below them instantly dropped by hundreds of feet, exposing many holes around which set off huge waves. Young man, it's only been a few days, but your strength seems to have improved a lot. No wonder you dare to challenge me head-on, Lei Xen said, staring at Jian Wushuang steely. Through this fight he found Jian Wushuang much more powerful than he had been 3 days ago. Hee, if I am not powerful enough, how dare I fight against you, an expert at Step 5 of the Eternal Realm head-on? Jian Wushuang went on in a sarcastic tone. He then moved his wrist in a flash, swinging out the Emperor's sword with great agility. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In a twinkling of an eye, Jian Wushuang had thrust out his sword dozens of times. Each strike was as fast as lightning, and could easily kill an average expert at Step 1 or 2 of the Eternal Realm. Lei Xen was flooded with dozens of sword shadows, making him feel like he had fallen into a sea of swords. As an expert at Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, Lei Xen's staff heart had long reached level 5, much higher than Jian Wushuang's sword heart at level 3. Perhaps he was not so good at close combat as Jian Wushuang was, but he was no worse at understanding his weapon than Jian Wushuang was. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Lei Xen moved swiftly, and at the same time, he swung the stone staff in a quick and agile way. Whether it was chopping, stabbing, or sweeping, every move was flexible and smooth. Bang, bang, bang. Awful deafening roars echoed across the sea one after another. The whole sea below had been turned upside down by the fierce battle between both men. Lei Xen, is that all your strength? Jian Wushuang shouted in a deep voice, his dark golden eyes glaring at Lei Xen. You bastard! Lei Xen's face looked a little ugly. He did not expect that he would be looked down upon by a divine realm expert. He is much stronger than he was a few days ago. During the last fight, I could crush him completely, even though I couldn't kill him. Now, not only am I not in the upper hand, but I'm also losing, Lei Xen thought sullenly. An expert at the peak of Step 5 in the Eternal Realm unexpectedly can't win any upper hand in a fight with a divine realm expert. It was an absolute great shame. Young man, go to hell. Lei Xen let out a roar. The next moment his aura suddenly raged, and clusters of vast purple thunderbolts also burst out, filling the entire battlefield. 9 Heaven Thunder. Lei Xen's face became distorted, and the purple stone staff in his hand suddenly swelled to a height of 30 feet. Boom! A great thunder suddenly descended from the sky, and the purple stone staff in Lei Xen's hands seemed to initiate it. The purple stone staff guided this huge thunder, and then hurled at Jian Wushuang. The vast purple thunderbolt flowed through the void, causing space rifts to appear one after another. It was Lei Xen's ultimate skill, the 9 Heaven Thunder. He had absolute confidence in this move. As the purple thunderbolt came to Jian Wushuang with overwhelming power, his pupils shrank. He dared not underestimate it. In the void, he, of 15 meters tall, suddenly raised his Emperor's sword high. As the sword was raised, the sword essence that burst out of Jian Wushuang was unstoppable, overwhelming, and fully converging on the sword blade. Jian Wushuang's breathing became gentle, and the vast spiritual power and forces that burst out from him were completely gathered in the Emperor's sword at this moment. The third move of the Boundless Heaven Sword art, the Red Shade Sword move. Jian Wushuang suddenly launched another move. Boom! As Jian Wushuang waved his sword, A huge hazy sword shadow cut out. For a moment, the world was in dead silence. Then, two terrifying powers collided head-on. Bang! There was a tremendous rumbling sound like the sky and earth was falling apart. After the roar sounded, two figures shot back towards the rear at an alarming speed simultaneously. Jian Wushuang's tall body retreated hundreds of feet, while Lei Exen was obviously in a worse situation. Jian Wushuang only retreated, with his blood surging, while Lei Exen was shaken, his mouth spilling blood. He looked pale, and his aura was weaker than before. Chapter 809, Blood Mountain Sword's Powers. Chapter 809, Blood Mountain Sword's Power. No, how could this be? Lei Exen, I'm an expert at the peak of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm and he's just a Divine Realm expert, but how come I can't beat him? Lei Exen wiped the blood from his mouth and glared in disbelief at Jian Wushuang in the distance. By this time, Jian Wushuang had calmed the blood in his body and appeared in front of Lei Exen again. Ha, Lei Exen, you're not all that powerful, are you? Jian Wushuang gave him a wry smile. Humph, I admit that you are much stronger than I thought. I can't kill you alone. Nevertheless, don't get cocky. There are countless experts in this world, and even on Circus Island, many experts are stronger than you and can kill you easily. With my identity, I can easily pay a price and ask some experts to kill you, Lei Exen threatened in a freezing voice. Oh really? Jian Wushuang gave a non-committal tilt of his mouth, but then he shook his head and said, Do you think I will give you this chance to do that? What? Lei Exen's face instantly darkened, and he then noticed that a man was coming at tremendous speed from the direction of Circus Island behind him. Soon, the man arrived in front of him. Your doppelganger. The man looked exactly like Jian Wushuang. He was certain that Jian Wushuang had cultivated the doppelganger's secret skill, and that the man he had just fought against was too powerful to be his doppelganger. Oh, so you think you can keep me by joining forces with your doppelganger? Lei Exen said scornfully. It was a well-known fact of doppelganger's secret skill that the doppelganger was much less powerful than the original body. Therefore, Lei Exen did not feel the slightest fear when he saw Jian Wushuang's doppelganger. You're not strong enough for my original body to join forces with my doppelganger, Jian Wushuang said with a frigid smile. With that, his slaughter body came to him quickly, and then his two original bodies became one again. The two original bodies were born because of the heavenly creation skill he had cultivated. The two original bodies were of equal strength, and their battle strength would not be greatly affected when they were united as one. The only difference was that Jian Wushuang fought against Lei Exen with the Emperor Sword just now. Meanwhile, Slaughter Body suppressed Su Ming with the Blood Mountain Sword. At this moment, the Blood Mountain Sword held by Jian Wushuang stretched to 12 meters long. The Blood Mountain Sword was refined for me by my master at great cost. Its power is exceptionally mighty and has already transcended the eternal weapon. I've never really exercised its full power since I got it, and Su Ming was just suppressed by its own powers of suppression. Now let me see how capable this sword is. Jian Wushuang had a glimmer of expectation in his eyes. In the next moment, with an eccentric move, Jian Wushuang had passed through the void and appeared in front of Lei Exen. The Blood Mountain Sword was scarlet like a boundless sea of blood. It gave a slight tremor and then thrust out directly. It was a simple, casual sword, and though Jian Wushuang had unleashed his power to the utmost, he did not display any secret skill. All in all, he wielded his sword in a simple and usual way. The light of the sword was piercing and swung towards Lei Exen. Lei Exen found that there was nothing extraordinary about the blow, so he resisted Jian Wushuang's sword calmly with his stone staff. Thus, the Blood Mountain Sword, seemingly like a boundless blood sea, collided straight with the stone staff covered with purple thunderbolts. Crash! A low voice was heard, accompanied by a slight crack of the instrument. What? Lei Exen stared at the purple stone staff with his enlarged eyes. He saw that there was a slight crack in the place where the stone staff hit Jian Wushuang's sword. Although that crack was tiny, it still made Lei Xian feel inconceivable. At the same time, he felt the power from Jian Wushuang's sword several times stronger than before. That power had frightened him. Step 6. No sooner had he thought of it than the terrifying power came over his arm. Puff! Blood spurted from Lei Xian's mouth. He went deathly pale, staggered and tried to retreat. But Jian Wushuang obviously did not intend to give him any chance to run away. After he seriously injured Lei Xian with his sword, he continued to gain momentum and took advantage of the situation to kill him. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. With an indifferent, emotionless look, Jian Wushuang urged the power of Blood Mountain Sword to the greatest extent, and then waved it for 4 times in succession. Each of these 4 strikes was very common. They were only the simplest of cuts, without any delicate swordsmanship. Although retreating quickly, Lei Xian still wielded his stone staff to ward off the 4 blows. Clang, 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 clang. There were 4 crash sounds consecutively. Each time the horrifying power that the Blood Mountain Sword contained would explode, which was tantamount to a hard hammer hammering Lei Xian's heart. After fending off 4 times, Lei Xian felt as if he was about to collapse completely. What made him even more frightened was that there were more and more cracks in his stone staff. After the 4th collision, crack! A crisp sound rang out. The eternal weapon in Lei Xian's hand was considered decent, but it was broken in pieces. How is it possible? It's an eternal weapon, how can it be broken? Lei Xian was dumbstruck, with his eyes wide open. Jian Wushuang didn't display any other secret skills, but simply changed a magic weapon. As a result, he totally outclassed him now, although he only occupied a small advantage in the past. With the previous strike, there were a total of 5 strikes. It was the simple 5 strikes that smashed his magic weapon and seriously wounded him. Run! A trace of fear rose in Lei Xian's heart, and he had lost all his battle intent. When life and death were at stake, he neglected his disciples' enmity. Now he only wanted to save his own life. He wanted to escape, but Jian Wushuang did not plan to let him off. Jian Wushuang again wielded his sword. This strike was a secret skill, Twilight. It was the fastest strike. As the sword was thrust out, a strange power immediately swept out from Jian Wushuang. It was the mind-controlling secret skill of the ancient god's secret skill. In the past 37 years, Jian Wushuang's mastery of the 3 secret skills of the ancient god clan had greatly improved. Now he fully exhibited the mind-controlling secret skill that was enough to contend with an expert at Step 3 of the Eternal Realm, but for an expert at Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, it had little effect. Unfortunately, Lei Xian had been seriously wounded, and his will was on the verge of breaking down. More importantly was that Jian Wushuang had been too close to him. Chapter 8:10 The Pavilion Master. Chapter 8:10 The Pavilion Master. They were too close indeed. With such close distance, although Jian Wushuang had just performed the mind-controlling secret skill, and Lei Xian only paused for a moment in shock, Jian Wushuang's twilight move had already attacked him. Splash! The sword light momentarily pierced Lei Xian's head and shattered his life core. Lei Xian, an expert at Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, had died. After slaying Lei Xian, Jian Wushuang took away his interspatial ring and treasures, and then stood there, looking at the Blood Mountain Sword in his hand with his eyes blazing. It's at Step 6. Previously, I did my best, but my battle strength could only reach the top of Step 5. But with the Blood Mountain Sword, my battle strength soared to Step 6. Moreover, this sword is so powerful that with only 5 blows, it shattered Lei Xian's eternal weapon. This sword is so terrifying. Terrifying. That was what Jian Wushuang really thought about the Blood Mountain Sword. It is indeed a sword that Xian Yi refined himself. It is worthy of being a supreme magic weapon that is above the Eternal Realm. Jian Wushuang marveled at the Blood Mountain sword in his heart. The power of this sword was far beyond his imagination. Unfortunately, I am too weak to urge its full power now. But a small fraction of the power that I could urge is enough to make me much more powerful. When I break through to the eternal realm and even become a Tao master, I should be able to exert all its power. How formidable will I be then? Jian Wushuang secretly looked forward to it. In fact, he still had a slight distance from the eternal realm, let alone to become a Tao master. In a short period of time, it was impossible for him to fully exert the power of Blood Mountain Sword. Jian Wushuang regained his composure after a moment. Lei Exen is dead, then? Jian Wushuang murmured, and looked far away at the other battlefield with a chill in his eyes. In another battlefield, his puppet fighter of the Eternal Realm was fighting against Mr. Wu furiously. Previously, Jian Wushuang had ordered the puppet fighter to pester Mr. Wu so that he wouldn't have a chance to interfere with Jian Wushuang's fight with Lei Exen. Thus, the puppet fighter didn't do his best, but he still crushed Mr. Wu's panic increased when he saw Jian Wushuang in the battlefield. What happened? Mr. Wu looked around blankly and asked, "Why are you here alone? Where's Lei Exen?" He had just been overwhelmed by the puppet fighter. Moreover, the two battlefields were far apart, so he did not witness Jian Wushuang killing Lei Exen. Lei Exen? Jian Wushuang looked at Mr. Wu with a thin smile and answered, "He's dead. If you want to find him, I can send you to see him." Lei Exen is dead? Mr. Wu glared at him, but then shook his head and said, "That's impossible. You're just a divine realm expert. How can you kill Lei Exen?" "You'll know in a minute whether I can kill him or not, because you'll die too," Jian Wushuang said fiercely, the viciousness in his eyes raging. Now he had killed Lei Exen and suppressed Su Ming. Actually, the goal had been achieved. But because of Mr. Wu's appearance, he had to have his puppet fighter to fight against him. You knew, every strike the puppet fighter of the Eternal Realm made would cost a great deal of divine gems. The fierce battle between Jian Wushuang and Lei Exen lasted for a long time, during which the puppet fighter kept fighting with Mr. Wu and consumed more than 10 million divine gems. The cost was too great that Jian Wushuang had to kill Mr. Wu to cover it. "Kill him now," Jian Wushuang ordered without hesitation. Upon hearing the command, the 3-meter-high puppet fighter exerted his real power. At the same time, millions of divine gems in Jian Wushuang's interspatial ring were immediately consumed, and he darted towards Mr. Wu at an alarming speed. He was going too fast. It was far beyond what an expert at Step 5 of the Eternal Realm could do. Even the average experts at Step 6 of the Eternal Realm could not move so fast. Why is he so fast? Mr. Wu looked terrified. In the meanwhile, he also noticed that Jian Wushuang was coming to him. Damn it. He tried to flee, but the Eternal Realm puppet fighter had caught up. As the puppet fighter held his right hand, his fist condensed terrifying power, and then burst out at Mr. Wu. The power contained in this fist was much more powerful than that of the previous one. It was an earth-shaking blow with the power that had reached the peak of Step 6 of the Eternal Realm, and Mr. Wu had sensed it clearly. His eyes were blank and his heart was filled with despair. But at this moment, humph! A cold snort like a sudden explosion of thunder from the calm void suddenly sounded on the sea. This cold hum also carried a terrifying power, which hit the puppet fighter immediately. The puppet fighter's attack was immediately resolved, and his 3-meter-high figure retreated like a cannonball. He rolled over continuously and only regained his position after a long while. What? Jian Wushuang was shocked. The puppet fighter had gone all out and burst the battle strength of the peak of Step 6. Generally speaking, he could compete with an expert at the peak of Step 6 of the Eternal Realm. But now he had not even seen the opponent, but was blasted out by a cold snort. How strong? Jian Wushuang wondered. With a burst of buzzing, a tall figure suddenly came. He was a bald man in a holy white robe. He looked cold and his eyes were filled with faint anger. A suffocating, horrifying pressure came out of him. As soon as Jian Wushuang noticed the pressure, he frowned and his heart tightened. This coercion was definitely by no means from an eternal realm expert. Thus, the strength of this bald man was beyond doubt. He was a Dao master. Here came a Dao master. Seeing the sudden appearance of the bald man, desperate Mr. Wu instantly revealed a look of surprise. He looked at the man with enthusiasm in his eyes and bowed low to him. Pavilion Master. Pay respects to Pavilion Master. Mr. Wu called out excitedly. Pavilion Master? Jian Wushuang's face changed. Like Lei Xian, Mr. Wu was also a man of the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. Thus, the bald man was the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master. He was one magnate of the 6 biggest forces on Circus Island. He was a real Dao Master. Did the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master come here because I killed Lei Xian? Jian Wushuang wondered, knitting his brows. Then he looked at the bald man, feeling bitter and puzzled. This is outside of Circus Island. Why did the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion come here? Chapter 8:11 Punishment from the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master. Chapter 8:11 Punishment from the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master, the bald man who was exuding an air of authority, looked around before fixing his gaze on Mr. Wu. You're an expert at the top of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, but you almost got yourself killed by a Divine Realm expert. You really know how to give credit to my name, Humph. He said in a deep voice containing power. Mr. Wu shivered a little and hurriedly replied, Pavilion Master, I'm sorry for my incompetence, but his strength is extraordinary. He is the most incredible Divine Realm expert I have ever met. He has already killed Elder Lei Xian and he even has a very terrifying puppet fighter. I really am no match for him. Humph. Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master gave a cold snort and paid no more attention to Mr. Wu. Instead, he turned his slightly angry eyes towards Jian Wushuang. Young man, you killed a guest elder of my Heavenly Cloud Pavilion and you even tried to kill a second one. You're quite bold, he said, his deep voice placed undue pressure upon Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang momentarily paled. The pressure on his body was very painful to him. Fortunately, his body was much stronger than those of his peers, or else the pressure would have overwhelmed him. Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master. Jian Wushuang hastened to open his mouth while speaking in a tone of respect. Regardless of whether the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master was at odds with him, he was still a Dao Master and worthy of his respect. I have a reason for killing Lei Xian. His disciple, Su Ming, betrayed our master and almost caused the extinction of our bloodline. We were sworn enemies. I had to kill him, but Lei Xian stopped me and even tried to kill me for his disciple. Jian Wushuang said straightforward. Then he added, since he wanted to kill me, I certainly wouldn't stand for it. Mr. Wu came with him to help kill me, so I certainly would not let him off either. Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master, if you were me, you wouldn't go easy on someone who wanted to kill you, would you? Humph, you're so sharp-tongued. No matter what reason you have, it is an incontrovertible fact that you killed a guest elder of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master said coldly. But you're lucky to have met me instead of one of the others. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master went on, I'm the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master, a Dao Master, but you're just a Divine Realm expert. I won't deal with you personally, but punishment is inevitable. Hand over all the treasures and divine gems you got from Lei Xian, then give me another 30 million divine gems as compensation. If you do, I'll let it go at that. Jian Wushuang's face darkened a little at his words. Handing over all the treasures and divine gems he got from Lei Xian, then another 30 million divine gems as compensation. Okay, I'll give it to you. Jian Wushuang agreed after pondering for a second. Then he handed out 2 interspatial rings. Here are 2 interspatial rings. One was Lei Xian's, I have not had time to look into. The other contains 20 million divine gems and treasures worth around 10 million. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master took the 2 rings and took a quick glance into them before nodding. All right, I will not pursue this matter. You can go now. Thank you, Pavilion Master. Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief, withdrew the Eternal Realm Puppet Fighter, and then left immediately. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master and Mr. Wu, who stood respectfully there, were alone on the surface of the sea. Mr. Wu looked at the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master strangely. He knew that the Pavilion Master had always defended his people. Moreover, Lei Xian had a high position in the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion. Now Lei Xian had been killed. Although he did not wish to kill Jian Wushuang personally because of his identity, he should not have let him go after only requiring 30 million divine gems as compensation. He had never seen such a powerful divine realm expert like Jian Wushuang. He had many means and must have extraordinary stuff. Leaving aside the other things, the Eternal Realm Puppet Fighter was priceless. However, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master only asked Jian Wushuang for 30 million divine gems. Didn't he go too easy on Jian Wushuang? Mr. Wu dared not ask the Pavilion Master these questions, so he kept them in his heart. You go back first, I have something to do, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master said as he left. Mr. Wu also left after bowing respectfully towards the direction in which the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master had disappeared. Outside Circeus Island, above the boundless sea, there was a skinny silver-haired elder with a hunchback sitting on a purple exotic beast. The purple exotic beast was running freely through the sky, leaping dozens of miles with each step. With a swoosh, a man appeared beside the purple exotic beast. It was the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master who had just punished Jian Wushuang. Lord, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master reverently bowed to the skinny elder. What? Do you feel that his punishment is too light, so you are dissatisfied with this? The elder asked, then looked at him with a smiling face. Humph, he really is lucky. Without your command, I would have slapped him to death, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master said in a low voice. Haha, if you had slapped him to death, you would have been in trouble now, the elder smiled casually and continued speaking. He is by no means an ordinary person. After saying this, the elder squinted slightly and his voice became grave. His bloodline is extraordinary. He is very weak now, but even I dare not underestimate the potential of his bloodline. As a divine realm expert, he possesses such a formidable battle strength. It's incredible. He is an amazing person. In addition to his own great opportunities, someone like that must have a very capable person behind him. It may be his master or his elder. And that person is definitely one of a few truly mighty people. Even I dare not offend those people. The elder took a glance at the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master. Besides, did you notice his scarlet magic sword? The elder demanded suddenly. Yes, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master nodded. His strength is not much stronger than Lei Xian's, but he completely suppressed Lei Xian with his magic sword, and his battle strength suddenly reached step 6. In my opinion, the sword should be an emperor weapon. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master and the skinny elder had been watching the fight between Jian Wushuang and Lei Xian from nearby. However, when Lei Xian was killed, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master did not come forward to stop Jian Wushuang. Only when Mr. Wu was about to be killed did he appear. An emperor weapon? The elder nodded. It is at least an emperor weapon, but I can't tell which level it is at. The accomplishments of the person who made that magic sword has definitely reached great heights in refining weapons. That magic weapon used special means to hide its strangeness. If we had not seen him use that magic weapon to kill Lei Xian, we would have never known its true value. A person who can refine such amazing emperor weapons can never be unknown in the eternal world. With his ability, the person can easily call several powerful Dao masters to act as his thugs and easily become an overlord as long as he is willing to pay them with an emperor weapon. Yes, the person who refined that magic weapon really is powerful, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master agreed with him seriously. Therefore, it makes sense to only punish him slightly instead of killing him. If you really killed him, do you think you would be able to keep your life after the people behind him found out? The elder said with a sly smile. After hearing this, the heavenly cloud pavilion master was drenched in cold sweat. He hurriedly said, "Thank you for reminding me, Lord. You're one of my people." "Of course I will help you," the elder replied. "You just punish him a little and he will neither care nor hate you. As long as you don't bother with him in the future, this matter will be over." "I know," the heavenly cloud pavilion master nodded. "All right, I have been out for a long time. It was interesting to see such an amazing young man, but it's time to go back," the elder went on. "By the way, the second master of the Xia clan will arrive at Circus Island tomorrow. Greet him for me." The second master of the Xia clan? The one who is known as the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world? The heavenly cloud pavilion master asked. Then his face changed and he said, "I wonder if he can beat Swordsman." Chapter 8:12, An Invitation from the Governor. Chapter 8:12, An Invitation from the Governor. Jian Wushuang walked slowly, with some trepidation, alone over the sea on the perimeter of Circus Island. "I didn't expect the heavenly cloud pavilion master to show up because I killed Lei Exin. Fortunately, he did not give me a hard time due to his status and only asked me to pay him some divine gems to save face." He pondered. He didn't care about having to pay those divine gems for compensation at all. 30 million was a lot of divine gems, but an expert at Step 5 of the Eternal Realm would be able to afford it. Instead of killing him, the heavenly cloud pavilion master simply asked him for some divine gems, which was lucky enough for Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, Jian Wushuang. A wild cry rose abruptly in Jian Wushuang's mind. His expression changed as he turned his hand over, and then a miniature mountain immediately appeared in his hand. It was the sword mountain form of the Blood Mountain sword. And Su Ming was in it, being suppressed. "Su Ming, what are you trying to say?" Jian Wushuang said in a deep voice while looking at the miniature mountain. "Jian Wushuang, let me go," Su Ming begged bitterly. "As long as you let me go, I will serve you as my master and obey you from now on." "Serve me as your master?" Jian Wushuang asked in a mock and frosty tone. "If you were strong, perhaps I would have some respect for you, but you're such an incompetent and shameless person. Do you think I'll forget that the bloodline of the sword ancestor was destroyed because of a piece of crap like you? It's really not worth it." Jian Wushuang thoroughly despised Su Ming for being so spineless. "Jian Wushuang?" Su Ming tried to continue, but Jian Wushuang interrupted him with a cold snort. With a thought, Jian Wushuang stirred a raging fire restriction inside the sword mountain, which sent out clusters of flames towards Su Ming. These flames could not kill Su Ming since he was a superior divine realm expert, but they could make him miserable. His cries of pain were heard echoing from the sword mountain. "Su Ming, you're in my hands now," Jian Wushuang said in a chilly manner. "I'll make sure you enjoy yourself." He would never show mercy to Su Ming because the thing he hated most was betrayal. Now that Su Ming had been suppressed inside Sword Mountain once again, Jian Wushuang could use some of the restrictions within the Sword Mountain to torture him. And he knew Su Ming's every move, so when Su Ming could no longer bear the torture and tried to commit suicide, he would prevent him from killing himself. Su Ming would learn firsthand what Jian Wushuang's remark meant. "Now that you're in my hands, I will help you understand how lucky it is to be dead." A moment later, Jian Wushuang stopped on a small island and regulated his breath to recover his spiritual power. By the time he regained his peak condition and returned to Circus Island, it was already the next morning. The moment he reached Yang Zishuan's mansion, Yang Zishuan came out to meet him. "How did it turn out, third brother?" Yang Zishuan asked with concern. "It went well. Lei Exin is dead and my sworn enemy is now in my hands," Jian Wushuang answered. "Good." Yang Zishuan nodded. At this time, a sergeant of the Circus army came to them. "Commander, His Excellency, the governor, has sent word that he wants you to see him now and that he would like for you to bring your friend with you," the sergeant said and cast a deliberate glance at Jian Wushuang. Yang Zishuan's face changed, then he exchanged a strange look with Jian Wushuang. The governor of the Circes army had great power on Circes Island. As a commander of the Circes army, Yang Zishuan was under the command of that governor, so it was natural for the governor to call for him. But it was odd that the governor had specifically asked him to bring Jian Wushuang with him. I never told the governor about you, so how does he know about you? Why did he call you there? Yang Zishuan raised these questions in bewilderments. We'll know when we see him, Jian Wushuang replied with a smile. After speaking for a moment, they went to meet the governor of the Circes army. The moment they flew out of the courtyard into the sky, they sensed a group of dozens of people quickly passing by. Most of the people in the group were sergeants of the Circes army, and some were famous Eternal Realm experts on Circes Island. In addition, Jian Wushuang knew the person at the center of the group. The Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master? He gazed at him. He had just seen the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master outside of Circes Island last night, so he recognized him at a glance. He's a Dao Master? Yang Zishuan had also seen the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master. They just happened to be going in the same direction, so they followed the group. Not long after, they arrived at the edge of Circes Island. Dozens of people stood quietly in the area, seemingly waiting to meet someone. A Dao Master personally came to welcome someone. Is there a big shot coming to Circes Island? Yang Zishuan muttered. Maybe, Jian Wushuang said as he nodded slightly. Dao Masters were very respected individuals, so the person whom a Dao Master personally greeted had to be a big shot. After a short while, they saw a silver-white alien lion, surrounded by a group of warriors dressed in silver, gradually appear above Circes Island. A handsome silver-haired young man in a white robe stood on the back of the alien lion. The lion was running fast, but the young man had been standing still, with an attractive smile that never left his face. The young man was alone on the giant alien lion, but amongst the people around him there was a vigorous elder who was close by. The elder looked a little cold and exuded a terrifying aura. It was an aura that belonged to a Dao Master. Apparently, he was also a Dao Master. After seeing the people who were moving in his direction, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master, who had been waiting quietly, laughed, and his hearty laugh echoed over the entire Circes Island. Then he said, "Welcome to Circes Island, Second Master. It's an honor to have you here. I'm Tian Yun and I am here to welcome you on behalf of our Lord." Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master, I've heard so much about you. The young man on the alien lion smiled humbly and calmly, even though he was facing a Dao Master. Our Lord has prepared a feast to welcome you. Second Master, please come with me, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master said. All right, the young man said and nodded, then cast a glance at the elder beside him and said, "Let's go, Elder He." Then, the group of people went toward the mansion of the Lord of Circes Island, the Grand Circes Castle. As soon as the group left, the streets of the entire Circes Island buzzed. Chapter 8:13, The Xia Clan. Chapter 8:13, The Xia Clan. They're from the Xia Clan. And that man is their second master. It's him. No wonder the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master came to greet him personally. It turned out to be the second master of the Xia Clan. It is said that he is known as the #1 Divine Realm expert in the Eternal World. The #1 Divine Realm expert? Really? Yes, of course. Rumor has it that he, as a Divine Realm expert, once defeated an expert at the top of Step 4 of the Divine Realm. It's incredible! A Divine Realm expert defeated an expert at the top of Step 4 of the Eternal Realm? How could that be? Nothing is impossible. There are overwhelming numbers of exceptional geniuses in the Eternal World, and the second master is definitely one of the greatest ones. Not only that, I heard that his elder brother is more incredible than him. The whole Circes Island was currently in a hubbub, and the topic was the second master of the Xia clan that they had just seen. At this moment, Jian Wushuang and Yang Zishuan stood side by side in the air and watched the second master fly off into the distance. The second master of the Xia clan? What's his background? Jian Wushuang asked. He had been in the firmament territory since arriving in the eternal world, so it was his first time leaving. He knew so little about the eternal world and had never heard of the Xia clan. My master has mentioned the Xia clan to me, answered Yang Zishuan. Jian Wushuang was intrigued and quickly turned to face Yang Zishuan. After all, Yang Zishuan's master was Emperor Shao, one of the 4 great emperors in the Tang of the East. Since Emperor Shao had once mentioned the Xia clan, it meant that they were by no means an ordinary clan. My master said that during the founding of the Tang of the East, there were many powerful clans there. These clans mostly have a long history and the Xia clan is the most powerful among them. They are called the Overlord clan in the Tang of the East and are recognized as the most powerful clan, Yang Zishuan said. An Overlord clan? Jian Wushuang's heart throbbed. That was an extremely high assessment for a clan. That meant the Xia clan must have an extraordinary history. The Xia clan existed when the Tang Emperor built the Tang of the East. And whether it was during the reign of the Tang Emperor or during the prosperous age of the Tang of the East, when the 4 great emperors reigned together, the Tang of the East has always been wary of them, added Yang Zishuan. Been wary of them? Jian Wushuang asked in surprise. Technically, it was just that they're being careful. Yang Zishuan nodded and went on. When my master talked about the Xia clan, his words clearly contained a hint of anxiety towards them. When I asked him why, he said that it was because the Xia clan has an extremely horrifying ancestor. Even the Tang Emperor and Empress Qing, the most powerful emperor of the 4 great emperors, did not dare to look down on him. Even in the heyday of the Tang of the East, they didn't interfere with each other. But now, the overall strength of the Tang of the East has been greatly weakened and Empress Leng is the only one of the 4 great emperors in charge of the country. Thus, their uneasiness towards the Xia clan must have deepened. Oh, Jian Wushuang nodded. Now, he had a general understanding of what was going on. I have also heard of the second master of the Xia clan. He is Xia Yan, an exceptional genius that his clan carefully cultivated. Even though he is in the divine realm, he once beat an expert at the top of step 4 of the eternal realm, so he is recognized as the number 1 divine realm expert in the eternal world. Yang Zishuan added. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. You're reading on novelful. T.S. The eternal world was vast, with innumerable experts and countless geniuses. The firmament territory was only a common domain in the eternal world. There were very few experts in the divine realm there that were strong enough to contend with ordinary eternal realm experts, let alone competing with stronger ones. Therefore, within the firmament territory, even the strongest divine realm experts could only contend with an ordinary eternal realm expert. But that was nothing serious if you looked throughout the vast eternal world. In the eternal world, truly strong divine realm experts were rare, but there were some. Just looking at Circeus Island, almost all the divine realm experts who won 10 consecutive victories in the blood battle arena were fairly strong divine realm experts. Here, the ordinary divine realm experts could only be compared with the experts at step 1 of the eternal realm, while some of the exceptional divine realm experts could be compared with the experts at step 2 or even step 3 of the eternal realm. As a super genius carefully cultivated by the Xia clan, and the number 1 divine realm expert recognized by the eternal world, it was normal for Xia Yan to be able to defeat an expert at the peak of step 4 of the eternal realm. Xia Yan is powerful indeed, but compared with you, he isn't so impressive. You killed Lei Xian after all. When you are in a good mood in the future, go and directly challenge him so you can claim the title of the number 1 divine realm expert in the eternal world, Yang Zishuan said nonchalantly. Ha, a second brother, don't make fun of me. Jian Wushuang laughed. Xia Yan is the second master of the Xia clan. With such a high status, he must have many trump cards and skills. Even if I could defeat him, I'm not stupid enough to offend him for an empty title. After all, he is from the Xia clan. Yes, you're right, Yang Zishuan nodded slightly as well. Actually, neither Jian Wushuang nor Yang Zixuan were interested in empty titles like the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world and the #1 genius. The only thing they desired was substantial benefits. All right, stop chatting. Let's go. Your captain is likely to have waited anxiously, Jian Wushuang said. Then they set off again. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the military camp of the Circus army. After they arrived at the military camp, they quickly met the governor of the Circus army. He was a middle-aged man who looked burly, but according to his aura, he was not someone to be underestimated. There were many experts in the Circus army. However, the middle-aged man was not a Dao master. But, as a governor, he was almost invincible amongst experts in the eternal realm. Governor, Yang Zixuan gave a slight salute. The middle-aged man nodded and looked at Jian Wushuang with his big eyes that resembled two brass bells. You are Swordsman? He asked. Yes, Jian Wushuang answered calmly. Then, he looked Jian Wushuang up and down before saying, Someone wants to see you, come with me. Jian Wushuang, though puzzled, followed the middle-aged man inside the military camp while Yang Zixuan stayed where he was and waited for him. Not long after, they entered a huge tent in the center of the military camp, where there was a person waiting for them. It's you who wanted to see me? Jian Wushuang looked at the green-dressed girl and frowned. He knew the girl. In the blood battle arena, his first opponent was this girl. He had taken it easy on her, so he had not hurt her. Afterwards, the girl took the initiative to come to meet him, but he had ignored her. Jian Wushuang remembered that her name was Lin Wan. Chapter 8:14 Lin Wan's Requests. Chapter 8:14 Lin Wan's Request. Miss Wanner, I've brought Swordsman here as you requested, said the governor of the Circus army with respect. Okay, thank you, off you go, Lin Wan said. The middle-aged man turned and left at once, leaving Lin Wan and Jian Wushuang in the tent. Swordsman, do you remember me? Lin Wan asked, smiling at Jian Wushuang. Yes, Jian Wushuang slightly nodded. When they were in the blood battle arena, Jian Wushuang thought Lin Wan was just another ordinary warrior like him. As things stood, he was wrong. The governor of the Circus army was an honored position on Circus Island. No one could command him like this except for Dao masters. But Lin Wan had done just that. Good, I heard that you fought with Lei Xian of Heavenly Cloud Pavilion a few days ago. I also heard that the fight lasted for a long time and that you were not defeated. Is that true? Lin Wan demanded. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded again. A few days ago, the fight that had taken place between Jian Wushuang and Lei Xian on Circus Island had caused a great stir and attracted many people's attention. Even though he had killed Lei Xian last night, the area they fought in was not on the island, so few people knew about it. And Lin Wan was clearly not among those who knew about it. Lei Xian is an expert at the peak of Step 5 of the Eternal Realm, but you were actually able to compete with him. Although you were at a complete disadvantage, you still showed that you are quite formidable, Lin Wan praised. If you have something to say, then say it. Jian Wushuang didn't want to talk nonsense with Lin Wan. Okay, I won't keep you in suspense. I called you here because I want to ask you a favor, Lin Wan said, then took a deep breath and put on a grave look before she continued. Did you see the people that the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master personally met on your way here? Yes, I saw them. They are the people of the Xia clan, led by their second master, Xia Yan, Jian Wushuang replied. Yes, it's about Xia Yan. Lin Wan's voice suddenly turned frosty. I have a personal, deep hatred of Xia Yan. I want you to help me beat him once. That's it? Jian Wushuang cast Lin Wan a glance. Yes, Lin Wan solemnly nodded. Of course, you won't do it for nothing. How about I pay you 100 million divine gems? 100 million divine gems? Jian Wushuang said as his eyes narrowed. 100 million divine gems was not a small sum. Even a Dao master might be tempted by it. But Lin Wan casually put forward such a condition, and if the fact that she had commanded the governor of the Circus army at what was included, Jian Wushuang had a rough guess at her true identity. Lin Wan looked at him expectantly. 100 million divine gems was enough to make most Eternal Realm experts act crazy or desperate. She was sure that Jian Wushuang would be tempted by so many divine gems, too. However, "Sorry, I can't help you," Jian Wushuang answered in a cold and resolute tone. He refused her offer without even considering it. What? Confidence vanished from Lin Wan's face. Evidently, Jian Wushuang's reply startled her. "But is 100 million divine gems not enough? I can add more," Lin Wan hurriedly said. "Miss Wanner," Jian Wushuang indifferently said, "we met only once before this meeting. Strictly speaking, we are practically strangers, and Xia Yan has no quarrel with me. Why should I provoke him?" Then he continued, "Most importantly, he is the second master of the Xia clan. I'm not foolish enough to make such a great enemy for nothing. If there is nothing else, I'll take my leave, Miss Wanner." He immediately turned and began to walk out of the tent without looking back. "Swordsman," Lin Wan called him from behind. "If you think the pay is too low, just tell me you want. Whatever it is, I will satisfy you." There was a palpable anxiety in her voice. "How about 200 million divine gems, or 300 million divine gems? If you want some treasures, just say it. What do you think of the Circe's army? If you want, I can make you a commander, even a governor of them, as long as you promise to help me." She kept increasing the pay. "Swordsman." Now, her voice was full of entreaty. But no matter how her attitude changed, Jian Wushuang showed no sign of stopping, still heading towards the outside of the tent. He could see that there was definitely a deep hatred between Lin Wan and Xia Yan. Otherwise, with her identity, she would not stoop to ask him for help. But it had nothing to do with him. As he had said, he and Lin Wan were almost strangers, and he had no quarrel with Xia Yan. He would be a fool to offend Xia Yan and the mighty Xia clan just to gain a large sum of divine gems or some other benefits. Lin Wan clenched her hands hard and stared at Jian Wushuang. When he was about to step out of the tent, she could not help speaking again. This time she tried to goad him instead. "Swordsman, you turned out to be a coward. You really let me down. I thought you were more powerful than Xia Yan and more suited to the title of the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world. Unexpectedly, you won't even dare to have a fight with him. You said you don't want to make such a great enemy for nothing, but I think it's just your excuse for being afraid of him and not being able to beat him. You are not only afraid of him, but also afraid of the Xia clan and his exceptionally talented elder brother. Well, it's reasonable. After all, you are just a divine realm expert without any backing, while he is the second master of the Xia clan, which is the most powerful overlord clan in the Tang of the East. His elder brother is even more remarkable and is recognized as the greatest genius in the eternal world, the youngest eternal realm expert in history, and may even become the youngest Tao master in the eternal world. And his elder brother is the husband of the princess from the Tang of the East. Such a big shot. Lin Wan went on talking, but Jian Wushuang, who had just stepped out of the tent, stopped abruptly. No matter what bait Lin Wan had tossed out, like the divine gems and the position of commander or governor in the Circe's army, or how she tried to goad him, Jian Wushuang remained indifferent. Even when Lin Wan said that Xia Yan's elder brother was recognized as the greatest genius in the eternal world, the youngest expert in the history of the eternal realm, and that he may even become the youngest Tao master of the eternal world, there was no pause in his steps. But when he heard Lin Wan say, his elder brother is also the husband of the princess from the Tang of the East, he instantly stopped. "What did you say?" Chapter 8:15. The husband of the princess from the Tang of the East? Chapter 8:15. The husband of the princess from the Tang of the East. "What did you say?" Jian Wushuang asked coldly. At that moment, he turned around and gave Lin Wan an icy look. When Lin Wan saw Jian Wushuang turn around, a feeling of hope returned to her. "I said you are afraid of Xia Yan and his elder brother. What about it?" she asked. "No, not that," Jian Wushuang said, still staring at Lin Wan, you said Xia Yan's elder brother is the princess's husband? There is only one princess in the Tang of the East, isn't there? Yes, Lin Wan answered and nodded. The princess is Leng Rushuang, the most beautiful girl in the eternal world. As for her husband, Lin Wan continued after a pause, although Sister Shuang is not married yet, the current ruler of the Tang of the East, Empress Leng, has long agreed with the Xia clan that Xia Yan's elder brother will be her husband. So, it's a done deal. Oh! Jian Wushuang oozed a freezing aura. Leng Rushuang, he murmured the name in his heart. From the time he began to cultivate until now, he had met all kinds of women and had come into contact with many that were beautiful or graceful. But Leng Rushuang was the only one who gave him a special feeling. He had only seen her a few times, but he knew exactly how he felt about her. When Lin Wan said that Xia Yan's elder brother was the husband of the princess, a fit of petulant sulkiness rose in his heart. You called Leng Rushuang Sister Shuang. You seem to know her and have a good relationship with her, right? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, of course I know her. Her parents, Emperor Shao and Empress Leng, are good friends with my father. He used to visit them, and my father took me with him when he went to the Tang of the East, so I've met Sister Shuang many times. Because of that we are close to each other, Lin Wan told him. Sister Shuang is an indifferent but good person. In the Tang of the East, and even in the whole eternal world, she has very few friends, but I should be considered one of her few friends. I see. Jian Wushuang raised his brows and looked at Lin Wan again, then he said, Okay, I'll help you. You're reading on novel full thanks. Really? Lin Wan became jubilant. What else do you want? Just say it. She hurriedly added. The 100 million divine gems you promised is enough, Jian Wushuang replied. No problem, I'll give you the divine gems now. With that, she took out an interspatial ring and gave it to Jian Wushuang. There are 100 million divine gems in it. Please check it. If it's okay, you can go to the blood battle arena now. I'll bring Xia Yan there before long. Be careful when you fight against Xia Yan. You just have to do your best, I won't blame you if you lose. Jian Wushuang took the interspatial ring and searched it with his consciousness before looking up and saying, I won't lose. Then he turned and left directly, leaving Lin Wan alone in the tent. Counting Swordsman, I have found 3 powerful divine realm experts. Leaving aside the first 2, Swordsman was able to stand up to Lei Xian in a head-on battle. Maybe he can beat Xia Yan. Lin Wan murmured with delight. Once he came outside of the tent, Jian Wushuang quickly found Yang Zishuan. Third brother, who was looking for you and why? Yang Zishuan asked urgently. It's not a big deal, Jian Wushuang smiled and said, Come on, let's both head to the blood battle arena. You're going to the blood battle arena? What are you going to do there? Yang Zishuan asked, puzzled. What am I going to do? Jian Wushuang squinted but the corners of his mouth turned up and formed a sneer. I'm going to grab the title of the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world. Huh. Yang Zishuan looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise and then a meaningful smile spread across his face. Without asking any more questions, he followed Jian Wushuang toward the blood battle arena. The blood battle arena was still as crazy and lively as it had been before. The arena was large enough to allow 2 powerful experts in the eternal realm to fight using their full power without affecting the countless people in the audience. When Jian Wushuang and Yang Zishuan arrived at the blood battle arena, 2 superior divine realm experts were having a fierce fight inside the arena. However, they had no interest in watching duels between superior divine realm experts, so they sat quietly in a corner and waited for Xia Yan. About half a day later, along with a buzzing sound, a lot of powerful people suddenly emerged. As soon as these people arrived, a terrifying aura spread out over the blood battle arena and, for a moment, the entire blood battle arena grew completely silent. Countless people in the audience stared with wide eyes at these people. Those people were horrifying, especially the first few who oozed a unique and profound aura, which was more than enough to represent their identity. They are Dao Masters. Why has more than one Dao master come to the blood battle arena in person? What's going on? Everyone in the audience was in a state of shock and dullness. The two superior divine realm experts who were fighting on the arena instantly stopped and ran off the arena. In the silence, Lin Wan, who was standing among the people on the edge of the arena, pointed to the graceful young man, Xia Yan, and shouted, "Xia Yan, you are called the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world, but I do not believe that there is no one stronger than you among the innumerable divine realm experts in this vast eternal world." After pausing for a fraction of a second, she went on, "Today, I've brought in 3 divine realm experts to fight you one-on-one. If you defeat them, I will recognize your strength and accept your proposal. But, if you are defeated by any of them, forget about the proposal." The second these words came out of her mouth, the audience roared. Beside Lin Wan stood a skinny hunchbacked elder with silver hair. At her words, he forced a smile and said, "Master Xia Yan, she has spoiled by me and is always fooling around. Please don't mind her. Please don't stand on ceremony, Lord. Miss Wanner is too noble and can't be compared with ordinary people," Xia Yan replied with a modest smile. Then he turned his eyes towards Lin Wan and said, "Miss Wanner, the so-called title of the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world is just an empty honor, so it's not worth mentioning. But since you want to test me, I'll fight with all my strength." "Which 3 divine realm experts did you bring? You can ask all 3 of them to come up and fight against me together. If I fail to defeat them within 15 minutes, it will be considered my loss," he added. Chapter 8:16, The #1 Divine Realm Expert Xia Yan. Chapter 8:16, The #1 Divine Realm Expert Xia Yan. Xia Yan's words carried an absolute confidence and impressed many warriors in the blood battle arena. He planned to fight with 3 experts at once and claimed to be able to defeat them within 15 minutes. "Humph, he's really arrogant. I said you would be fighting one-on-one, so you will fight one-on-one." "Zongyuan," Lin Wan replied in a deep voice while looking at Xia Yan. Swoosh! A stalwart figure immediately came flying out of the audience and appeared on the arena. The man was more than 2 meters tall, and his huge body gave off a terrifying aura which made him seem like a wild beast. "He's your first opponent," Lin Wan said to Xia Yan. Everyone in the blood battle arena looked at the beast-like man and quickly recognized him. "I know him. He's Zong Yuan. He has won 100 successive fights against divine realm experts in the blood battle arena. He's a peak expert. He is indeed a divine realm expert, but it is said that his battle strength is more terrifying than an expert at step 3 of the eternal realm." The auditorium was abuzz with discussion. Xia Yan also took a glance at Zong Yuan and a cool smile played across his mouth. Then he moved and appeared on the arena. The whole blood battle arena quieted down once again. "Master Xia Yan, please," Zong Yuan said flatly. "Just go," Xia Yan replied, still looking graceful, indifferent, and proud. "Humph, you're reading on novel, full thanks." Zong Yuan said nothing more. After a cold snort, he ran straight towards Xia Yan, like a big demonic ape. There was a giant hammer in his hand, which seemed to weigh as much as a mountain. When he reached Xia Yan, invisible ripples immediately began to spread from the giant hammer. Then he swung the hammer at Xia Yan hard. Instantly, there was a violent sonic boom from inside the arena. "His power is truly impressive." The audience was shocked. Obviously, Zong Yuan's offensive power had surpassed the ability of a divine realm expert and was even superior to that of a step 1 or even step 2 eternal realm expert. However, in the face of such an overwhelming attack, Xia Yan was still standing there in a relaxed manner. Only when the giant hammer was less than a meter from him and about to hit him did he reach out slowly. In the instant that he reached out, a dark blade light swept straight out. The blade light, which was as dark as ink, shot towards Zong Yuan soundlessly. And it moved too fast to allow Zong Yuan to react. Zong Yuan was the first to swing his hammer, but before his hammer could land on Xia Yan, Xia Yan's dark saber had already cut into his body. Swish! He watched in disbelief as the blade light passed. The next moment he fell straight down with the power of his hammer already dissipated. Within seconds of making his move, Zhong Yuan had died. In the blood battle arena, everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. He's too powerful. This is the strength of the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world. Zhong Yuan could rival an expert at the peak of Step 3 of the eternal realm, but he was killed in a single move. Is Xia Yan really a divine realm expert? All the people present were secretly amazed. Although they had heard about Master Xia Yan's battle results, they initially doubted its truth since they had not seen him fight before. But now, the fearsome battle strength Xia Yan had just displayed completely dispelled their suspicions. Not only that, they even suspected that he may be stronger than the rumors said. Standing in the audience, Lin Wan paled and clenched her teeth when she saw that Zhong Yuan was actually killed by Xia Yan with a blow. Then she called out another name, Mo Ling. Whoosh! A demonic man appeared on the arena. He was the second divine realm expert Lin Wan had sent. He was slightly better than the first divine realm expert, Zhong Yuan. He was skilled in speed and he moved mysteriously, so he should be very difficult to deal with. But when he fought against him, Xia Yan moved even faster than him. In the end, Mo Ling was also killed by Xia Yan with one blow. Now Xia Yan had successively killed 2 powerful divine realm experts, each with one blow. The eyes that were looking at him were full of shock and admiration. No wonder he was called the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world. Xia Yan is worthy of being an expert that the Xia clan cultivated meticulously. Like his elder brother, he is truly an exceptional genius, the Lord of Circes Island said with a smile, and then he turned to Lin Wan. Wanner, it's time to stop. I still have one more expert to fight with him, so there's no rush to stop, Lin Wan said in a low voice. The Lord of Circes Island and the glum elder of the Xia clan both smiled casually at her response. In their eyes, what Lin Wan did was just a girl's mischief, so they did not care. The last one, Swordsman, Lin Wan called out again. In a corner of the auditorium, Jian Wushuang, who was sitting side by side with Yang Zixuan, stood up slowly. Xia Yan really is powerful. Be careful you don't mess up, Yang Zixuan told him in a casual manner. I know, Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Then he flew into the arena and stood there for a second. Swordsman, I'm counting on you, Lin Wan said in her heart, clenching her hands and fixing her eyes on Jian Wushuang. Countless members of the audience, including the Lord of Circes Island, that glum elder of the Xia clan, and other Dao masters, all cast a glance towards Jian Wushuang as well. It's him. The Lord of Circes Island and the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master had seen him before and knew his strength, so when they saw him appear on the arena, they exchanged a glance with each other and their expressions changed. Unexpectedly, Wanner asked him for help, the Lord of Circes Island thought, stroking his beard while gazing at Jian Wushuang. This is going to be interesting, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master secretly said as his brows lifted. He knew that Xia Yan, as the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world, really was formidable. His strength had been proven when he killed Zhong Yuan and Mo Ling in succession, but Jian Wushuang, he had killed Lei Xian head-on. The Lord of Circes Island and the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master had both watched Jian Wushuang fight against Lei Xian, so they knew Jian Wushuang was not weaker than Xia Yan. But the others in the blood battle arena didn't know it. Tut, tut, one more person has doomed himself. Is he a fool? Didn't he watch Xia Yan kill the 2 powerful divine realm experts in a row, each with only one blow? Yet he still dared to come up? Perhaps the miss has offered him something irresistible. He knows he is going to die, but he still wants to try. It's a pity that he has overestimated himself. Chapter 8:17 Jian Wushuang takes action. Chapter 8:17 Jian Wushuang takes action. Everyone in the audience looked at Jian Wushuang with pity. In their opinion, If Jian Wushuang fought with Xia Yan, there was no doubt that he would die. Come on. Release all your strength or you'll have no chance. Xia Yan looked at Jian Wushuang nonchalantly, as if he was looking at an ant. Of course, if that's what you want, Jian Wushuang replied casually. Then, the Emperor's sword instantly appeared in his hand and he swung it at Xia Yan from a distance. Immediately, a huge sword shadow rushed forward to strike Xia Yan. However, they were too far apart and the blow was so slow that any of these powerful divine realm experts could avoid it. As for Xia Yan, it was a piece of cake. What is he doing? Did he realize that he will be killed in an instant, so he gave up and has decided to put on a show? Something isn't right. Even I could avoid that blow. Many warriors in the audience were talking. And, as they expected, when the sword shadow reached Xia Yan, he easily avoided it with a slight move. You really are just an ant. Xia Yan smiled contemptuously and moved near Jian Wushuang in an instant. Then a dark blade light swept out. The blade light moved surprisingly fast. Both Zhong Yuan and Mo Ling had been killed by this same blade light. At such a sight, many people in the audience secretly sighed. But just as the blade light was about to strike Jian Wushuang, clang! A mysterious sword shadow silently appeared and blocked the incoming saber just in time. What? Xia Yan looked up in wonder. What? He fended off Xia Yan's attack. It caused profound astonishment among the audience. They saw Jian Wushuang swing his sword and block Xia Yan's saber. That's interesting. Xia Yan's mouth curved into a thin smile, but his eyes were exceptionally cold. His wrist moved and he continued attacking Jian Wushuang with his dark, chilly saber. 3 saber shadows with icy lights shot at Jian Wushuang's throat, heart, and forehead. These 3 saber shadows were not very powerful, but they were remarkably fast. Clang, clang, clang. The 3 saber shadows were all blocked as well. How can he keep up with my speed? Xia Yan was baffled, but he sniffed in a dismissive way. Suddenly, he raised the dark, chilly saber and an overwhelming power swiftly condensed in it. Whoosh! The blade light shot out in a twinkling. Xia Yan's previous attacks were fast, but the power they carried was very ordinary. However, this blow contained a vast power. Jian Wushuang also raised his sword to block that blow immediately. Bang! He blocked it. But the terrifying power behind that blow landed on Jian Wushuang like a great mountain. It instantly knocked him down, causing him to fall down and strike the arena. A huge pit appeared on the arena, and the smoke billowed. Looking towards Jian Wushuang, who was still inside the huge pit, Xia Yan sniffed disdainfully and said, "This divine realm expert is not bad, but he still lost in the end." Then he turned to leave. Everyone in the audience watched Xia Yan in awe. Xia Yan really is exceptionally formidable. In all 3 fights, his opponents were all some of the strongest divine realm experts, but in the end he won easily. No wonder he dared to say he would fight against all 3 opponents at once. Now, it seems that even if the 3 divine realm experts joined forces, they would not be able to compete with him for 15 minutes. Sentences of praise for Xia Yan came from all directions. Xia Yan could actually hear the people talking about how amazing his strength was, but he still wore an indifferent, graceful look, pretending not to care. However, he was extremely happy on the inside. He enjoyed the feeling of being admired by so many people. It made him very delighted and pleased. In a jolly mood, Xia Yan walked to the edge of the arena. Then he looked at Lin Wan and said, "Miss Wanner?" However, he was suddenly interrupted by the sound of the ground breaking and a little stone that looked like a flowing light flying directly towards his head. Xia Yan's face darkened and his aura rose, immediately smashing the little stone into powder. Then he turned to look back. He saw that Jian Wushuang had risen from the huge pit and was brushing the dust from his clothes in a cold manner. Xia Yan's face instantly became stiff. He didn't die, and he isn't even hurt much. Xia Yan was startled by what he saw. The blow that Jian Wushuang faced carried so much power that even an expert at Step 4 of the Eternal Realm would not be unscathed if the expert was hit head-on by it. How come he's not hurt? He is not hurt, and his aura did not even weaken a bit. Many warriors in the audience also turned their eyes towards Jian Wushuang. They were totally shocked. Only the Lord of Circe's Island, the Heavenly Cloud Pavilion Master, and Yang Zishuan looked the same as before. On the arena, Jian Wushuang gazed at Xia Yan with an expressionless face. Xia Yan, I heard you are called the #1 divine realm expert of the eternal world, aren't you? He asked freezingly. Yes, what about it? Xia Yan said and gazed back at Jian Wushuang with a look of disdain still on his face. The corners of Jian Wushuang's mouth lifted as he coldly said, Nothing, I just want to tell you that if you only have this much strength, that title will be mine after today. Jian Wushuang said these words in a casual manner, but most of the warriors in the blood battle arena were startled and stared at him in wide-eyed shock. The title of the #1 divine realm expert will belong to him. What does that mean? They wondered. Well, I'd like to see how you will take it away from me, Xia Yan replied, then his face had become grave. Apparently, he was completely vexed by Jian Wushuang. You'll see soon enough. With that, Jian Wushuang grasped the Emperor's sword even tighter and activated his bloodline power. His body began to bulge as it grew at an amazing rate. At the same time, his aura soared. Under the gaze of countless open-mouthed warriors, he became a 15-meter-tall gold-armored ancient god in about a minute. Along with his body, his Emperor's sword had also enlarged and turned into a sword that was 10 meters long. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.